What's up? What's up? How is everybody doing? Welcome to RossonARI TV, another edition of the Milan news, another day in the Milan universe, another day post Maldini era. Of course, we will be talking about the new names that are being linked to AC Milan, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the comments that are being left and spread around social media and the various newspapers from people that are closer to the club, the opinions of certain figures like Ancelotti, Galli, Scaroni. Scaroni had a very interesting interview. We're going to be looking at that, and so forth and so forth. And the names that are being linked to Milan now in this post Maldini era are interesting. So obviously we're going to be looking at those as well, opinionating, and we will definitely be analyzing whether or not we think these can be good signings for Milan. But before I want to get started, first of all, let me say hi to chat. Francesco Orlando, thank you for your appreciation of the show. What's up? Desna, hello Milanisti, how you doing? And hello to everybody else that is joining us and that will join us and that will see this live posted after it gets posted. So I want to start with this. Very clear. Okay, before we get started in the news, I want to make my last remark on the whole Milan, on the whole Maldini situation. And this channel prides itself for being a channel that has class and that will appreciate the work of Maldini from now till the end. I will not be susceptible to the media propaganda that is just pointing out Maldini's flaws in order to convince me that it was a good that they had justification to fire him, especially the way they did. Absolutely not. Maldini on this channel will be remembered as a great DS for Milan, a DS that won us a Scudetto, a DS that brought us back to the Champions League, a DS that brought us back to a semi-final of the Champions League after almost 20 years. And I will not fall for the stupid media propaganda that is being pushed about Maldini and the mistakes he made. The only reason why Maldini was fired is because Jerry Cardinale, when he bought this club, he had a vision, And that vision never ever coincided with Maldini's vision from the beginning. The only reason why Maldini was not fired the first day of the Gianni Cardinale takeover is because we just had won a Scudetto, and firing Maldini after that was something that not even Jerry Cardinale is stupid enough to do. But Gianni Cardinale and Maldini, this marriage never, never, never was going to. It was never meant to be. If Milan would have finished 1 point behind Inter last year, Maldini would have gotten fired, and the media propaganda would have been Tonali was a mistake, Benacer was a mistake, Teo Hernandez was a mistake. Selling Donnarumma was a mistake. We should have kept Magnan. If we would have, sorry, we should have never gotten Magnan. If we would have lost the Scudetto by 1 point, Maldini would have been fired, and the media propaganda would have been stupid, like it is right now. And that is the truth, guys. I'm not stupid, and I don't think many people are. Okay. The reason why Maldini was fired is simply because Maldini's vision for Milan has always been different from the vision of Jerry Cardinale. Jerry Cardinale did not buy a club and put all this money and risk to then be run by people that do not you know do things the way he wants them to be done. So let's be clear here. Nobody is stupid. Anybody here that wants to point out the finger that Maldini is this and that, no, 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 no. You guys are just being susceptible to media propaganda and nothing else. Okay? And that is the truth. Having said that, Forza Maldini, Forza Milan, and sorry, but once again, I am against this current ownership. I just want people to know it. This ownership to me is soulless. This ownership to me is classless. This ownership to me is going to use Milan for an experiment. I'm not happy with it. But guys, I am always a Milanista no matter what, and we will follow Milan, and we will continue to support the team, but not the ownership. And we will continue to follow the news. We'll continue to see what happens. Now, listen. I want to also make this clear. I do think that Milan is still going to get good players, and Milan is going to have maybe they're going to have a good summer mercato. But at the end of the day, the one thing that Milan doesn't have anymore is a leader, is that human connection, that attachment to the shirt. Because we, as people that sit in our offices, in our couches, in our homes, wherever we are, in our studios, we don't experience the day-to-day of football players. All we experience is the 90 minutes of the games, and we experienced whatever the news bullshit wants to tell us. That's all we experience. But the day-to-day is something that me, having worked in football, having worked in the sporting area of football, know that is very valuable and exists. Yeah, Milan has lost an alpha. Milan has lost one of the greatest leaders in football that there has ever been, one of the greatest captains that there has ever been. Football, at the end of the day, is an emotive sport. It's not just a sport of robots that sign a contract and play football. No, football is about chemistry. Football is about connection. Football is about sacrifice for each other. There's the human element of football is very real. It's very real. And we have sacrificed that human element for an algorithm, for an experiment. Okay? At the end of the day, these are things that maybe if you've never worked in football, you don't understand them, or maybe you do understand them. I don't know. But these things are real. And these things will affect the team. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Especially the players that Maldini signed and the players that connected to Maldini. All those day-to-day relationship that they had with Maldini, all those emotions that they experienced together, the winning the Scudetto, winning games, those periods where things went bad, and Maldini was there talking to the players, those life lessons, all of that are things that stick. And all the players that signed with Maldini, that developed that relationship with Maldini, today feel betrayed. Don't get it twisted. They feel betrayed today. And the new ownership, the way this ownership operates, is an ownership where relationships don't matter. Everybody is nothing else but an asset. The family values of the family values, the attachment to the shirt, all those values that define what Milan used to be, now do not matter anymore. This is corporate America now. Corporate America has taken over AC Milan, and we won't see the effects of this right away. We will not see the effects of this right away, but they will come. They will come in time. They will come in time, and that is for sure. Of course, it depends. Maybe they can bring someone, a team manager of some sort, that can bring back these values, that can give these players this sense of belonging and this sense of duty. But the way Maldini was fired pretty much suggests that all of this stuff is not important to this club. It's not even considered a category in this club. Something that does not matter. The only thing that matters right now is the minimum objective. That's it. That's the only thing that matters right now. It is what it is, guys. Now, listen, again, I do not want to say that, Milan is over. I am keeping the doors open for a very surprisingly great Milan might happen. It's difficult to think that might happen because I think that other teams are going to be in much better standing than Milan. But let's see what happens. I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see how the players that were connected to Maldini, how they're going to react. And I'm very curious to see how that's going to happen, because we saw that the players prior to Maldini, the players that were signed before Maldini, they didn't have that same connection with Maldini, right? They did not have that same connection with Maldini, and Maldini wasn't able to renew any of those players for one reason or the other. It could be technical reasons or whatnot. But one thing is clear, that we've been seeing a lot of messages from the current players. Benacer had a beautiful farewell message for Maldini on his Twitter, I believe. Leao, Calabria, Magnan, Florenzi, and then also Yassin Ali, surprisingly. Even Yassin Ali. Imagine, even Yassin Ali. So I'm sure Theo Hernandez, of course. Theo Hernandez maybe the player that is the most attached to Maldini. Maybe Theo Hernandez is a player that saw himself as Maldini's heir, right? Saw himself as the next Maldini. He is the king of the left wing, fullback position. So all of these things are definitely going to affect the players. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is the end of Milan. Absolutely not, guys. Milan is still a team. Milan still has obligations to compete. These players are still obligated to respect their contracts. But these values that I talk about are real, and eventually they will affect the team. Okay, let's get into it, guys. What's up, everybody? We got more people in chat. How you doing? Desna says I agree. John Chen says I don't agree. What's Haitian Montana? What's good, my man? Milan lost its soul. 100%. Milan doesn't have a soul anymore. Forza Milan. Hope you're doing well. Giordano, how you doing? Ernesto, ciao. Come stiamo? How you doing, Ernesto? Americans destroyed Milan's core value. That's it. Ancelotti, yes, we will be talking about what Ancelotti said. It is very interesting what Ancelotti said. All right, let's get into it, guys. The first news of the day is Kalulu. So Longo, this is what Longo says and Di Marzio say about the situation. The Frenchman arrived at Milan as a relative unknown from Lyon and enjoyed a rapid rise to being an established starter during the Scudetto winning season, but like Fikayo Tomori, he struggled to find consistency in 22-23. Alessandro Schiavone was part of a Di Marzio team, recently reported that Milan listened to offers for Ante Rebic, Divock Origi, and not surprisingly, given his drop of form, Kalulu as well. Daniele Lungo Calciomercato was asked on Twitter and responded to the rumors that Kalulu could depart from the club after 4 years. Kalulu, I don't think he will leave. Milan are looking for a left-footed defender who can also play as a fullback. It it uh, it comes after his report on Calciomercato said that Milan seemed to have fallen on Evan Ndika as a concrete target. The French centre back will leave Eintracht Frankfurt on a free at the end of the month, and he ticks a lot of boxes, including the fact that he can play left back. So, Kalulu is a player that should definitely not leave Milan. I really don't believe that these players that have already proven themselves just because they had, an underwhelming season last season should be sold. But this does tie to the fact that we are back on Indica. Last year, Milan Maldini tried to get Indica. There was that famous video call that Maldini had with Indica. There was an attempt to get him, but obviously last year, Indica was still under contract, and Milan at that time did not want to, pay to get him. There were basically, it seemed like at the time that Milan was trying to convince Indica to join Milan after his contract would have expired. Then, in recent months, Indica was close to Rome. Indica was close to Rome. Roma. Roma seemed the closest contenders to get Indica, and it seems like Roma are trying right now in advanced talks with Indica, but Milan has tried to hijack this operation. The report saying that in the space of a few hours, we should know exactly what's going to happen with Indica. So, do I think we should send Kalulu to get Indica? I don't think so. Absolutely not, because basically Kalulu is to the right what Indica is to the left. Kalulu is a left-footed center back that can also play right back, and that is a very good asset to have, while Indica is a left-footed center back that can play fullback. So they basically mirror each other perfectly. I don't think Kalulu is the right person to be sold. I do have my speculations, though. I do think that Tomori could be the player that will be sold in order to bring Indica in. Again, this is just a speculation. I hope that is not the case. I wouldn't sell Tomori ever, but Indica and Tomori do play the same position also. And Indica can also play fullback, and he could be also a good deputy to Teo Hernandez. But Indica is a player that I don't think you buy him to place on the bench. I think that's I don't see that happen. Guys, what I am thinking is going to happen based on how this new management operates and how they do business. What I think is going to happen, guys, and then this is just a speculation, it's an opinion. I'm not predicting the future. I want to hear what you think too. I want to hear your opinions. Maybe you might have a different opinion on it. I believe that now that players are not seen, now players are seen as sellable, especially maybe. I think Tomori, guys, might be the player we're going to sacrifice. Bring in Indica, sacrifice Tomori, and use the Tomori money to get a top level player. That top level player, though, might not be top level, though, because I'm seeing us being linked to Pulisic. If Milan wants to get Pulisic right now, they have to pay for him and they have to give him a big salary. So I hope this is not the case. If it was up to me, I would keep Tomori and bring in Dika, keep Kalulu, keep Theo, and what I would do, I'd keep most of all of them, and just have a super badass defense. I don't know if that is possible. So we will be finding out whether or not this is going to work. Also, we got to see if Milan is going to be able to hijack Indica first. We're going to see if they're going to be able to hijack Indica. It looks like Roma is in advanced talks. but there's also other reports suggesting that Milan is in advanced talks as well. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys see a possibility of Tomori being sold or Kalulu being sold? Christian Pasmino says Primavera star player Victor Leto rejected the offer from Milan. Interesting. Gabbia is most likely going to go no matter what, but Indica I don't think is the replacement for Gabbia. Rather, what I think makes more sense, the replacement for Gabbia is going to be a player coming out from the Primavera, maybe Kubis. Kubis probably is going to do a year with the first team. Kubis being our best defender in the Primavera, now ready to make the jump to the Serie A. So I don't see now if our replacement of Gabbia is Indica, then that is a jump of quality for sure. But let's also be realistic about the situation. I see maybe a selling Gabbia or keeping Gabbia, but then being replaced by Kubis. I think that is more realistic when it comes to Gabbia. But again, this is all speculation. I think we should try Kalulu Chao in defense next season. Yeah, Kalulu Chao are two good players. And I mean, listen, we can't just have two defenders. We need 4 or 5 defenders, right? We need 4 defenders. We can't just have 2 good defenders. We have to have Kalulu Chao, Tomori, maybe Kiai. Kiai is going. Maybe Kiai is the player that is going to be sacrificed for Indica. That is a possibility. But whatever we do, we need to have at least 4 top defenders in defense. 4 top defenders in defense. The reason why I'm saying I feel like maybe a Tomori might be sacrificed is because when I look at our budget can't get us anything. All right. You're not going to get someone that can guarantee you 20 goals a season with our budget. Forget about it, guys. If you think that we can just get some random dude from the second division of the Belgian league and he's going to come to the San Siro and score 20 goals just because of AI algorithms and Moneyball and Moncada, this and whatnot, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourselves. If we want to get a top striker, we have to sell someone. We have to sell someone. Now, so who is going to be this person? Also, Scaroni did mention that we are selling players. Gabbia and Balo out. Let him rotate with Theo. I mean, that would be the ideal. That'd be ideal. Yeah, Balo Touré out and Indica in. Let's see. I think Indica is a starter though. I don't know if Indica would accept to be in the deputy to Theo Hernandez. I don't know. We will find out, guys. We'll find out in the next hours. Kalulu would represent a big capital gain for sure. For sure, Kalulu would represent a huge capital gain because Kalulu was only paid, 500K? So Kalulu would definitely represent a huge capital gain. Tomori now, if you want to sell him back to England, you can make up to 60 million, 70 million. Who knows how much you can sell Tomori. There's clubs like Manchester United, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal. All of these clubs would love to get Tomori, guys. All of them. I really hope it doesn't happen though. We'll play 3-man defense. It is possible. 3-man defense. I see a good 3-man defense would be Kalulu Chao Indica. Kalulu Chao Indica or Kalulu Chao Tomori would be a good 3-man defense. The only player that could be really good in that center there from the players that we currently have would be either Kier or Chao. Those are the 2 players that are more suitable for the center back. Tomori come from 30 million. We would need at least 50 million plus off. Oh, yeah. It's going to be somewhere around there. If that happens, guys. If that happens. Kalulu is shit. I don't know everyone like him so much. You can't say Kalulu is shit. You cannot say Kalulu is shit. None of the players that helped us win the Scudetto last year are shit. Just because, look, guys, I'll go back to this. A lot of players that are great sometimes have poor seasons. It's normal, but I wouldn't say he's shit at all. Forget three-man defense. Leao is not working in this system. True, that's another thing that to look at. Okay, but anyway, so now this is the situation. Indica looks like the player that Milan right now is going after. Now, Indica is a very good player, guys. Let's not get it twisted. This is a player that we analyzed last year, and we liked him a lot. This is a player that is very technical, probably grew up as a striker or some kind of attacking midfielder, and then in time got relegated to the defense, probably because of his physical attributes and the qualities that he has. But he is a player that is good with the ball, a player that is good with possession, and he's a player that knows how to defend. But I also do want to add, because this is a player that we were looking at last summer a lot, and I remember Antonio and I really would have liked him to join Milan. This is a player that I have kept an eye on, and I did look at him against Napoli. Okay, and guys, Politano, you know, twisted him in and out a bunch of times against Napoli. I'm sure that the majority of people think Politano is a trash player, right? So I don't think Politano is a trash player. I think Politano is a brilliant player. But many people here, that love to just call any player trash, would say that Politano is a trash player. I saw Indica go up against Politano and Lozano. Both Politano and Lozano twisted Indica in and out. So it's not like, we're getting freaking Baresi. We're getting a good defender. If we're getting a good defender that can potentially grow in Milan. It would be Indica and Tomori and Kalulu right back. I mean, that would be nice. Maybe that would be good. I think that would be a good solution there. Indica center left, Tomori center right, Kalulu left back provides a little bit more defensive grit than, let's say, a Calabria, who is a little bit more offensive. It's not bad. It wouldn't be too bad. All right, so that's the player that right now Milan is looking at, so we can see the kind of direction that Milan is going. French players, a lot of French players. Also, I read a report that Mancada is going to be looking at the South American market as well, which is very good because in South America there's a lot of great talents that hopefully we can get and can emerge. So there's no doubt that Moncada is going to find talent. Remember, guys, I don't want to be repetitive. There's no doubt that Moncada will be able to find talents. How these talents will grow in Milan, remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. And if we are going to be able to persuade these talents to come, that's another issue as well. Okay, so interesting here. Primavera star Eletu. This is what Christian was talking about. Now, Eletu was in the U20 World Cup, played against Italy. Nigeria did very well against Italy. They look like one of the favorites of the World Cup. Actually, they beat Italy. They beat Dominican Republic. They did lose against Brazil. Then they ended up beating the hosts, Argentina. A little bit deceiving. If you look at the stat sheet of that game, it was pretty much all Argentina. Nigeria had just a few chances, and they were able to capitalize on their chances. But then they surprisingly lost against South Korea, where it was kind of the opposite. If you look at the stat sheet, Nigeria looked like the team that was dominating the game. Eletu was one of the players that, showcased his talents. I think he did get an assist against Italy, and he's a player that has been quite valuable for AC Milan in the Primavera. So let's see what this says. Eleto is one of the most interesting players in Milan's Primavera side, as we analyzed in this feature over in the World Cup break. He is mostly a deep line midfielder, and he had a great December in which he netted a goal in a senior friendly and then extended his contract until 2025. as an interested aside, the deal was negotiated and signed off by Ted Dimvula, the lawyer that was in talks with Milan over Rafa Leao's extension, which recently got over the line too. According to what is being reported by TMW, Let's intention is to take a step forward in his career after a great season with the Primavera and after his excellent performances at the U20 World Cup in Argentina for Nigeria. For this reason, Eleto has for now refused the 5-year renewal that Milan offered him, which would kick in when he turns 18, thus making it his first professional deal. As mentioned above, he is, however, contracted to the RossonARI for another 2 years, and if he does see his future elsewhere, there will need to be a meeting with the leadership. So it looks like Eletu is not interested in waiting around for AC Milan. Once he turns 18, he will go elsewhere and look for a club, similar to what Kirkis did. And it's understandable. It is definitely understandable. Definitely understandable. Of course, Eleto wants to renew, and good for him. We have a fucking terrorist on the bench who's not going to give him half a chance anyway. Same goes for Shaka Toure and Zeroli. Yeah, a lot of these players, we'll see how they do. It kind of does worry me a little bit when we talk about our future superstars, especially because Camarda is one of them that I'm looking at. And now that Milan doesn't have Maldini anymore, I wonder how Camarda's growth is going to proceed. It's going to be quite interesting. Ciao, Milanista. What's up, Saif? How you doing, my friend? I'm fine with Calabria, but I think Tonali should be given the armband. Roy, listen, I think that this summer nobody's going to go because it's too early. So these are signings for the future to replace. Maybe Ernesto, but we have to make funds. Funds are not going to appear out of nowhere. Funds are not going to appear out of nowhere. Hello, good evening from Yemen. How you doing, sir? Forza Maldini, merda cardinale. 100%. 100%. All right, so in other news, guys, let's look at what Scaroni says. Now, this is a very interesting interview. Scaroni, the president of AC Milan. AC Milan president Paolo Scaroni has given an interesting interview in which he attempted to explain the sacking of Paolo Maldini as well as the plans of the ownership moving forward. Scaroni was interviewed by Corriere della Sera, and after Giorgio Furliani's brief comments to La Gazzetta dello Sport yesterday, he has become the latest member of the management to try and shed light on what exactly the vision is. His comments were relayed by Sempre Milan, starting with some words for his former colleague Maldini and an explanation as to why the parties felt the need to separate. Where do I start? From the fact that all of us, and I in particular, have always had excellent relations with Paolo Maldini, who is a gentleman, a person attached to Milan, and who has done well for Milan, he said. However, we follow a bit of an innovative model, at least for Italy, for club management. We work in a team. It is an organizational model that is very dear to our shareholder, Cardinale, who, let us remember, is a sports specialist who boasts success in his activities. Wow, Scaroni is making sure he keeps his job. When he suggests something to us, we pay great attention because we think it brings innovations. In this organization, we had the impression that Paolo felt uncomfortable, and when one is uncomfortable, it is better to part ways. I'll give you an example that concerns myself. I was very dedicated to the new stadium matter, so much that there were those who called me Stadioni and not Scaroni. True, but I did it mostly in the Elliott years. What does that even mean? When Redbird arrived, which has experts who have built stadiums all over the world, it came natural for me to join the team and lose that autonomous role. It's a bit like what should have happened for the technical area. Oh, okay, I see what he's saying. So basically, he's saying that under the Elliott's management, he was on the forefront of the stadium negotiations and the creation of the process to create the stadium. But now that Elliott, now the Redbird has come and they have all this expertise in building stadiums, he took a step back and he pretty much engaged himself as a team player, a team member, rather than someone who kind of rows his own way. That's pretty much what he's saying. Therefore, suggesting what is obvious, that Maldini did not believe in this project. Maldini had his ways of looking at things, and Redbird has his ways of looking at things. But there is a big difference here that Scaroni says Redbird arrived with experts who have built stadiums all over the world. But as far as I'm concerned, Redbird has no teams that has won countless Champions Leagues and countless Scudettis as much as Maldini has. So I think there is a big difference there. Redbird, and we all want Milan to continue this growth. I don't forget that I started being president in a dramatic moment. You recall that I always said that we had two mountains to climb: bankruptcy and sporting results. Now we're not at the top, but we've come a long way indeed. I would say that in Italy, we are among those who have done the most. Well, sporting results, I'm sorry, but that goes to Maldini. We want to continue to scale, always keeping in mind that more revenues lead to more investments for the sporting area and more. What investments for the sporting area? If we won a damn Scudetto, we finished top four again. We made it to the semifinals of the Champions League. What investments are you talking about? Because we're still talking about 50 million. We're still talking about 35 million. Bro, man, we are not. These people think that we're fucking stupid. This is what pisses me off the most. They think that we're fucking stupid. And more sporting success leads to more revenues. A virtuous circle to be set in motion. In the meantime, let me remind you that in 4 years, we have invested more than the others. Some will always say it's not good enough, but our shareholders have allowed us to build a strong team, and we will continue along this path together. I think we will have to make some sales and complete some significant signings. We are ambitious. So when he says we have to make some sales, exactly who is he talking about? It could be, the regular players that all of us probably feel like should be sold, like Various Origi, CDK, Messias, and whatnot. But in my opinion, the first paragraph here is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. When he says, we want to continue to scale, always keeping in mind that more revenues lead to more investments from the sporting area, and more sporting success leads to more revenues. A virtuous circle to be set in motion. That is a bullshit statement, because we saw it firsthand, but it's bullshit. What he's really trying to say is that we're going to sell some of our bigger players in order to invest in the market, which is fine. Okay, it is fine. You sell Alao for 170 million. You buy three players, three other players. It is what it is. It's not what many of us would like to see, but essentially, this is what he is saying in between the lines. All right, this is what he's saying in between the lines. I'm not going to fall for this bullshit propaganda that they're pushing, guys. I'm not going to fall for it. This is literally CNN, Fox News, however the fuck you want to see it. I'm not falling for any of this bullshit. Who will take care of the market? It'll be in the hands of a team that integrates different skills, with CEO Giorgio Furliani, who also has a sports area to coordinate with, together with professionals such as Geoffrey Moncada and Coach Pioli. Now, that is interesting. They want to put Pioli at the forefront of things. That is something that we're going to be talking about. We expect him to have his say in these choices, in addition to the international experts of Redbird. What international when he says international experts of Redbird, he's talking about the data analytics companies in the United States, or wherever the fuck we're talking about. Okay. Corporate America. This is who he's talking about. Scaroni was asked if Maldini's name and his place in the history of football and had a certain weight when it came to negotiating with transfer targets. Okay, I'm really curious to see what he says here, guys. I'm really curious. This is very true, and I'm very grateful to him. I have to say that today, and it is not to sound ungrateful, we need it less. Wow. Amazing. Milan have come out of the management of Yongong Lee. This guy is incredible, man. These people are spineless, guys. These people are spineless. Milan have come out of the management of Yongong Lee, was struggling to attract talent. So the only reason why Milan will attract talent for these few next summers is because of the work that Maldini has done. Let's not forget that. I think that Milan, who won the Scudetto and reached the semifinals of the Champions League, are more attractive. Oh my God. These people are spineless, guys. What has I don't man, I'm losing my strength to do this shit. The president was also questioned regarding the rumors that Zlatan Ibrahimovic will be contacted over return to the club as a possible link between the squad and the management. I have the impression that he wants to take a sabbatical period. Okay, so that's pretty. I have an impression. Just fucking say that's what they told you. I have an impression. That's what Ibra said. He said, "Look, I'm not ready to come back. I want to take a break." And what Ibra probably told him is like, "The way you treated Maldini, fuck you. I'm not coming back. I don't want to get that treatment too." This Jerry Cardinal didn't even come on the pitch and shake my hand, for heaven's sake. Why should I go and work for him? That's probably what he said. That's why he says, "I have the impression." Then he remains a friend, a person to whom we owe a lot, because in the most difficult moments, he allowed us to make a breakthrough. If ideas come to him, we will be the first to listen to them. Some players have made their voices heard. Yassine Ali published a clear message on his Instagram, where Rafaela posted a cryptic yet telling video and then a more heartfelt thank you, with other players also posting tributes. A lot of players, actually. It seems natural to me. On the other hand, there are professionals that are used to change. They will understand that this is done with the idea of doing better. Of doing better. We will explain to them, then they will rightfully remain linked to Maldini. Of doing better. I cannot believe that I support a club today that is besmirching the name of one of our greatest players of all time. Not only a great player, but the first DS to win us a Scudetto after 11 years, the first DS to bring us back to a semi-final of the Champions League after 20 years. There are not many DSs in Italy in these past 15 years that have done as much as Maldini has done. Okay, there's literally less than a handful. Maldini did what some DSs take 2 decades. He did it in fucking 3 years. Yeah, was he perfect? No. Find me someone that you know in any fucking field of work that is perfect. Oh my God. This is killing me, guys. This is killing me. If Maldini wanted to sack Pioli, okay. Finally, Scaroni responded to the notion that part of the disagreement over plans to the future was because Maldini wanted to sack head coach Stefano Pioli. If Maldini wanted to sack Pioli, I don't want to express myself on the idea of Pioli's sacking, but Pioli is absolutely central to this project. Wow. Wow, guys. I'm speechless. These people think that we're fucking morons. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. They literally think we're fucking idiots. Listen. We're intelligent enough. Just tell us the truth. Don't fucking give us all this bullshit. Just tell us, look, Maldini had a vision, Jerry has another vision, and that's why he got fired. Don't give us all this bullshit. It would be so much easier if they just just told us the truth instead of trying to besmirch Maldini's name. What pieces of shit, man. I cannot believe I support this team in this current moment. I cannot believe it. Milanista says Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Jorginho this summer. AC Milan, Lazio, and Napoli are all keen on signing the midfielder. Interesting. Along the day when he's going to make that little misstep, and he will because he's a limited manager with weak charisma, so that I can see his bald head get chopped off by Cardinale. What are you talking about? The management team is a joke. We're the new clowns of Europe. Yeah, absolutely spineless bullshit. Man, why are we willing to give Pioli this much power? He won a Scudetto due to Maldini and Ibrahimovic. He's too limited as a coach. Please don't give this guy this much power in decisions. My only lifeline is that Pioli remains our coach. If he had resigned, then we'll be in big trouble. He was more flexible in taxes and subs the Scudetto season this year. He fell off in that regard, but he didn't really get the players he wanted. Yeah, they're all yes men. They're all yes men. They are all yes men. Okay, so this interview here just completely. I was expecting something a little bit better, but yeah, guys, this was a low integrity interview from Scaroni pushing the Redbird propaganda, and of course, he wants to keep his job. He wants to maintain his job. It is what it is. It's okay, guys. Like it is understandable at the end of the day. He does work for Redbird. Like he can't be talking shit about them. So he works for Redbird, and that's what he does, right? You know, Maldini is bigger than all of these people. Maldini is bigger than Redbird. Maldini is bigger than most sports people in general. So Maldini's status is a curse and a blessing at the same time. It is a curse and a blessing at the same time. So what did Baresi say? Let's see. It's a long interview. Milan's honorary vice president, Franco Baresi. Okay, honorary vice president. All right. Franco Baresi has spoken out about the sacking of his former teammate, Paolo Maldini, and also stressed the need for the squad to improve to move forward. It has been a remarkable and strange last few days for Milan's fans, and no doubt the player to try and digest, given that Zlatan Ibrahimovic retired from football, and less than 24 hours later, Maldini was sacked. Masada resigned. Masada was not sacked. Masada, as far as I know, resigned. Maldini may have gone, but another icon remains at the club in Baresi, who spoke to La Gazzetta dello Sport about the events of the last days and the plans for the future. As the true last icon left in the club, what do you feel like saying to the RossonARI supporters? The affection and gratitude towards Paolo will be there forever. To the fans who I imagine feel a little embittered and lost right now, I say that we must always think of the good for the club and of the club. Only if we remain united, starting from the team that is the engine of everything. Together with all the others who operate in the Milan world, we will work in one direction so that we can achieve these goals we all want. I ask the fans once again to show the maturity that they always have shown in the past and to support the team with great passion, because only together we can achieve great success. CEO Forlani told La Gazzetta, our ambition hasn't changed. On the contrary, it has strengthened to be competitive at the top of European football. Will Milan next season be structured to fight for the Scudetto and the Champions League? Yes, that's the aim. The owners will work to strengthen the team as they are aware of the importance of managing a club like Milan. Are they? But have they ever done that before? I don't think so. In order to remain protagonist and competitive. We must not be prejudiced. We must think that the property has made an important investment with the awareness of the value of this club. No, they were not aware of the value of this club. Baresi, Capitano, Cardinale didn't even know Milan was the second most decorated team in Europe up until a few months ago. Milan are a great club. It has a great history, and our CEO said, ambitions don't change. We must do our utmost to continue the positive paths of recent years. He's pretty much saying, hey, look, like he's being politically correct. He's playing politics. He's asking us, the fans, and he's asking the team to stay united and to keep on fighting together. But of course, he's being politically correct. The figure of Maldini in recent years has also been important in the management of the squad. With his daily presence at Milanello, could Ibrahimovic be the right man to give continuity in the dressing room and act as the glue between players and club? The team must be aware that they are the engine of everything. Every player has the responsibility of wearing his shirt, and the thought must always be to give their best on the pitch. The club will certainly put them in the best position to do so. As far as post-Maldini management is concerned, the club are already moving accordingly, making all the energy and tools available to ensure that the team works serenely and has the goal of thinking about the pitch. The figure of Ibrahimovic his personality has certainly been important in recent years, but I don't know what he will do in the future. His farewell moved everyone, and even the heart of a tough guy like him melted in front of the great, well-deserved affection that the RossonARI fans showed him. Another politically correct. He didn't really answer. He evaded the question here. Really, he's pretty much saying, it's a clever way to evade the question. He's pretty much saying that the players now need to, take that responsibility. The players now need to become what Maldini was, essentially. And that is what the players have to do, because we, as I said earlier, we don't have that alpha figure anymore. We lost that soul, right? We lost that central figure that everybody went to when everything was bad. That person that has experienced more success than anyone, that person that can give you the right advice, that can steer you towards the right direction from a sporting sense, now is gone. So now the players have to take that responsibility. Mike Maignan has to become the new Maldini. Teo Hernandez has to become the new Maldini. Leao, Tonali, etc. All these players now have to take that role and represent the club with how they behave, with how they transmit what it means to be a Milan player to who the new players are going to be. Essentially, this is what he's saying. Essentially, this is what they all have to do. Essentially, this is normal. This is the only thing that can be done. So it's a clever way to evade the question and respond it in a politically correct sense. You have experienced Milan first as a player and then as a manager. What is your idea of a new reorganization of the club with management based on an American model? I have experienced many ownership groups after I stopped playing with different dynamics, but I think we must always have respect for the strategies and ideas that the management wants to bring. The important thing is that the common good in the name of Milan. Each owner can have their own strategies, their own models, but surely if we all work in harmony together, we will be able to achieve the goals we want. That's a very, it doesn't look like Baresi wants any beef with the management. So, he's just going to go along with everything right now. Have you met Cardinale? I got to know him when he arrived at Casa Milan and there when we toured the museum. I realized that he immediately understood the importance and responsibility he would have for the history of Milan and for the millions of fans. I'm convinced that he knows the importance of keeping these colors flying high. Come on, Baresi. Pioli is a bridge between past, present, and future. From next season, he will be more involved in the transfer market and his responsibility will increase. Will this be his most difficult challenge at Milan? Guys, we have to discuss this. By the way, I am going to open the lines for calls today. I want to know, and the question is going to be towards this subject here. I believe that Pioli has always maintained a serene dialogue with the club's management, always having the freedom to express his ideas on every occasion, even with Maldini and Massara. Interesting, because it was reported that the opposite, right? during the whole anti-Maldini propaganda period, which we're still undergoing, the opposite was reported. So right now, here's a little crack in the wall. I think these relationships will strengthen as Pioli knows better than anyone the needs of the team, the players he has to his disposal, and where he needs to improve. It could be an added value. Okay. What is needed from the summer window for the team to grow? In which positions do you need to intervene? To compete on multiple fronts, it's important to have a broader, high quality squad. Correct. So depth. He's talking about depth. And I believe the club will act accordingly because there is a basis for doing well in multiple leagues. So he pretty much says that, yeah, we have a good core, but we need to add on to the depth. To select targets, Milan will increasingly rely on data analysis. Is this a model that can work in a top club? Data is important, but the human and technical aspect matters too. Data is welcome. Okay, Baresi is going to get fired, guys. Baresi already. He couldn't keep it. He couldn't keep it together. He could not keep it together. He's definitely getting fired. The human and technical aspect matters too. He couldn't help him. That is the little mess. That's the subliminal message that he sent out. Data is welcome, especially if it can help to make fewer mistakes and gather more information. Interesting. So Baresi, this interview to me looks like he is riding that fine line between saying the politically correct things to satisfy, the organization, and also a little bit of jabs here and there. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Very breaking news. Milan need a striker. Well, Mason Greenwood looks set for a loan abroad with Italy or Spain on the cards. We are opening the lines later, guys. So I'll give you guys one at a time. It's going to be a call-ins today. So 3-4 minutes each. I'll give you guys your moment to talk. So from now on, Milan News is going to finish the last 30 minutes, last 45 minutes with call-ins to get your guys' opinions on everything. Have you been to Red Bull Studio recently? No, I have not. American ownership in football hardly pans out because they don't care about winning silverware more than the business side of it. Guys, if you have not already, please click the like button, whether you're pro Maldini, anti Maldini, pro Cardinale, anti Cardinale, doesn't matter. Make sure to click that like button, help all Milan communities on YouTube grow. It is good for us all. So please do that. And help out, guys, help out. And also you can become a member of the channel if you want, and help us out that way. You can become a member of the channel, send in super chats, super stickers, whatever you want. Nobody forces you to do anything, but the one thing you can do, which is 100% free and appreciated more than anything, is click that like button. Breaking news: Kamada deal on standby. Yes. So apparently right now that the strategies have changed, it looks like the Loftus-Cheek and Kamada deal are both on standby. The name that concerns me the most is the one of Pulisic. It looks like Milan wants to go all in for Pulisic. Very strange. Very strange. So we spoke about this earlier. Let's just touch on it one more time because there's another name here that is interesting. According to Matteo Moretto of Rilievo, Milan have open talks with the agent of both Eintracht Frankfurt defender Evan Ndika and Borussia Mönchengladbach striker Marcos Thuram in view of their deals expiring later this month. Both opportunities of the market. Remember, no matter Maldini or no Maldini, this summer is the summer of opportunities. You're not going to get many summers like this again. This is the summer to exploit the most. The journalist states that the RossonARI know that they are starting at a disadvantage after the break in talks over the duo, but they're willing to try to convince the pair with the project that they're pitching. Yeah, a French project So that is going to work. Moncada, being French, is going to go for the French talent, of course, the Francophone talent. And both of these players would be a good fit as far as that goes. Among the incentives put forward by the new Milan management are salary among the top earners in the squad. And what? Are you kidding me? I hope this is not true. Among the incentives put forward by the new management are salaries amongst the top earners in the squad and a starting role in the team for next season. However, at the moment, it seems Roma are the big rivals for Ndika, and PSG have moved for Thuram. So there is strong competition to beat if Milan are to pull off what would be a statement double. It's not a fucking double signing. Come on, guys. What statement is it to sign Ndika and Thuram? With two mid-table players? That's not a statement signing. Who wrote this shit? Come on, Ollie. Let's step it up, Ollie, brother. Let's step it up. Signing Thuram and Ndika is not a statement signing. It's a decent statement, but it's not a statement signing. Deacon Thuram for free would be good. Work from Moncada and Fordani. Let's see if he can renew them 3 years from now. And offer them top salaries at Milan? No, that is not good. I'm sorry, Joe, but that is not good. That is like Origi 4 million for what? Why? Kamada 3 million. That was good. But a top salary for two players that have not done anything to deserve a top salary at Milan? How is this good? If this is true, guys, if this is true, I'll get, but I don't doubt that these are players that will add depth to the team. No doubt about that. I will not refute that. Roy, no matter what evidence from reports, you still claim it's propaganda against Milan. They won't invest sustainability against Maldini. No, it is propaganda against Maldini for sure. There's no doubt about that. Listen, I'm a savant when it comes to um, reading propaganda and just weaving through propaganda. I fucking see it with my eyes closed. It is 100% propaganda. You don't see it as propaganda because you're in favor of it. That's why you don't see it as propaganda. You embrace it. You're embracing the narratives because you're in favor of it. So at the end of the day, as I said before, this marriage was never meant to be. Maldini and Jerry Cardinale would have never worked together. The only reason why they didn't fire Maldini when Jerry Cardinale first bought the club is because because Maldini had just won a Scudetto. That is the only reason. But I know for a fact that the first day that Jerry sold the club, Jerry already knew that Maldini was out of the picture. Okay. So all this other bullshit here about him doing this and doing that, it's all propaganda, guys. I'm not falling for it. So you are in favor of this and you want to embrace this propaganda, and for you it's not propaganda. I understand that. The only thing that will convince you is based on their actions. So let's see if you're honest based on what they do. Now, listen, I am 100% convinced that Milan will have a decent mercato. Yes. I think they can bring in some talents, especially because there's a lot of free talents. If they don't, then these guys are idiots because there's so much free talent right now. The problem is if they give these so-called talents like Thuram and Ndika top level salaries, then I'm going to have my questions. But no matter of how the mercato is going to turn out to be, we've lost a leader in our we've lost the alpha of the pack. So it doesn't matter who you bring in. Eventually, unless someone doesn't step up, which has to be the players. The players, by the way, that I don't think are all going to be sellable. Unless someone steps up, the pack is going to crumble eventually. It could be 2 years, 3 years. Right now, the team is going to continue to operate on the work that Maldini has done, not the work in the market, guys. Also the work in the market, but the day-to-day work that Maldini has done. The team is going to continue to run on that work, the day-to-day work. What's up, Andy? How you doing, my friend? What's up, Roy? Did you talk about Scaroni and Baresi interviews? I just did. Yeah, I just finished right now. I just did. Yeah. Milan will have to have the best mercato in years for us to get over Maldini firing. Even then, not all of us are going to forgive Cardinale so easily. Look, Toyotas, I'm going to be honest with you. Even if we have the best mercato ever and we win the Champions League, the Scudetto, the Mickey Mouse Cup, the Donald Duck Cup, and the Miss Piggy Cup, I still think that this is a classless, soulless club. Okay, because at the end of the day, the way that this was done, nah, doesn't stick with me. The foundation has been built by the so-called villain Paolo Maldini. The psychological work he has done, it's not that hard to strengthen the team. Yeah, exactly. 100%. I don't know if Thuram is better than Arnautovic. I think they're more or less the same. The only upside is that, well, Arnautovic is definitely a more technical player than Thuram. That's for sure. Definitely more tech. Arnautovic is definitely a more technical player than Arnautovic. Would I get Indica over RLC? 100%, but they don't play the same role. Arnautovic and Thuram, honestly, both are names that don't excite me. Both of these names don't excite me. Both of these names are names that they'd be good for depth and nothing else. But Thuram is not a better player than Arnautovic, guys. Thuram actually technically is quite poor. He has good qualities. The fact that he hasn't even scored that many goals in Germany this year, especially Germany being a league that you score. He's only scored 4 goals more than Arnautovic. He scored just 3 or 2 more goals than Arnautovic. So to say that Arnautovic is better than Thuram, I wouldn't go that far. I would say that more or less the only difference there is that Thuram is younger. So there's an upside to that. But as far as technical values, Arnautovic is the more technical player. As far as personality, it looks like Arnautovic is the one that has the most personality. But as far as overall value of the players, none of them deserve a top salary. And none of them are players that we should be fucking, throwing parties over. Guys, listen. In Maldini's market, there's not much space to be excited over players when your fucking budget is 35 million, okay? Well, like, how are you going to be? And same thing with this budget. This is why I do think that in order to get like an Osimhen, right, a player of that caliber, you have to sell one of our big players. You have to make a sacrifice. And what I am seeing, if you really look at this logistically and you put the 1 and 2 together, because there's so many free players, quality free players, you can get a quality player for free in order to replace one of your big players, sell one of your big players, and then use that money to get a top striker. I do see that as something that could be done. It is heartless. It is soulless. I wouldn't do that, but maybe it works. It works out. I'm just saying that is a possibility that we might see. That's all I'm saying. Listen, my man, David, I have watched Thuram, okay? All right, bro. You don't need to fucking teach me football, okay? And I don't give a shit he's a bull. What the fuck does that mean he's a bull? Football is a technical sport. Football is a tech. Guys, David is literally paid by Jerry. Like, David is either you're related to this man or you're related to these people or you're paid by them. It's one or the other, because I've not seen anyone fucking bend over so hard for this fucking manager as much as you are. And if we cancel one of the big players while getting a good replacement budget goes up, honestly, the news of linked players for me, I'm satisfied. What you think, especially of Okafor? I mean, listen, guys. Leo, we were already linked to Indica during the Maldini had that famous video call with Maldini. Maldini and Dika, right? The famous video call. Remember, we were linked to Turam before. We have been linked for Okafor and well. Okafor is an interesting prospect. We saw him perform well against Milan. Maybe out of all the names, Okafor is the most exciting, I would say. Better than Arnautovic, better than Turam. I think the one with the most upside. Swiss international. You know, he has experience in in Salzburg. He did well against us. I think I don't think if he comes to Italy he can hit the ground running right away. But I think in Italy he can grow and adapt to become a very valuable striker. So I do give Okafor a little bit of clout for sure. No, David, I'm not slandering you, bro. You are just like, I mean, you're just like so fucking enamored with Jerry and his bullshit way of doing things, and it is what it is. As far as sales go, since we are operating on a shit Moneyball scheme, if we absolutely have to sell one of our best players, who should we sell? It pains me to even say Leao, Theo, Tomori, Magnan. For me, it's Tomori. For me, it's Tomori. I don't know if Theo wants to say, because it could be Theo maybe, because Theo has, or Magnan. If you just look at the contractual situations, Leao and Tomori are the ones that recently re-signed their contracts. So if you want to use that as a basis of thought, Theo and Magnan are the ones that Magnan still needs to resign. Theo did his contracts a few seasons ago. Theo probably the one that was the most. Theo and Tomori are probably the two that are the most attached to Maldini, according to what has come out and what they say. Maybe even Benacer. Probably if Benacer was fit, it could have been Benacer. Who knows? David, I told you you're going to work on your ball knowledge. David, and he talks about propaganda, the irony. Mamma mia, David. Mamma mia, David. Okafor, yeah, he is good. Yes, a billionaire. It's time to argue with random fans on YouTube. Well, Jerry Cardinale is not a billionaire, guys. Jerry Cardinale is not a billionaire. Jerry Cardinale is a man with a lot of debt. He's not a billionaire. Let's not get this twisted. Listen, I'm going to open up the lines later. So if you want to come here and give us more of your Jerry Cardinale, pro Moncada, pro Furliani narratives, you're more than welcome. And what is your opinion of CDK? For me, we should keep and make and improve him. I saw his compilation and he was decent at the beginning, but problem is Pioli doesn't like it. So listen, interesting thing about CDK, I did see an article, or someone said that CDK is not in Pioli's plans anymore. And guys, actually, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about this idea that Pioli now is going to have this power. Now, I don't disagree with that. Because I can even take that from my experience coaching an adult team, and there was an upper structure of people that organized the sporting department, and there was a lot of things that I wish I had more say in, and I didn't. A lot of things that I knew that if I had more say in, the sporting aspect would have been better. While the upper structure, the sports director of the department had their views, which were generated from an ulterior upper structure, which ultimately, in my experience, made the sporting department weaker than I thought it could have. Weaker. I thought it could have been much stronger. So even in my experiences in this world, I do think that a coach should have more power. I do think a coach should have more power in the decision making, because a coach knows exactly what he wants, right? A coach knows exactly who he wants to see, what he needs. So I'm not against this. I'm definitely not against this. I'm not against this, and I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Actually, I'm very curious. It's something that in Italy we don't get to see a lot. It's more of an English thing, a more managerial power to the coaches. So I'm interested to see how this is one of the experiments that actually I'm looking forward to see how it's going to work. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Milan is literally not synonymous with Maldini. Is literally not synonymous with my Mamma mia. CDK, sell CDK, please, even if it's worth it. It's difficult to make a capital gain with CDK. I think it's going to be difficult. All right, guys, let's go to a few more reports here regarding players, regarding the current situation, and then I'm going to do an open line. I'm going to accept calls, just get one person at a time, kind of how we did every day, and you can kind of give me your ideas on certain things, and then we'll go forward. But before going that, again, the news is mostly about the shock of Maldini being fired. So let's see what Ancelotti had to say. Ancelotti, actually, I did already read this. This was very strong, powerful from Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti fired some strong words at AC Milan's owner after the decision to sack Paolo Maldini, labeling it disrespectful to the club's history. The whole Milan world has been rocked by the news that club icon Paolo Maldini has been sacked from his role as sporting director, with Ricky Massaras following him in what feels like the first real bold move by Red Bull Capital since they took over. Yes. We attempted to explore the reasons behind the parting of ways in a feature published yesterday. We don't need to do that. We don't need to go. We know why they fired Maldini, not because of Origi, not because of CDK, not because of Enzo Fernandez and Cuolomani. They fired him because Maldini has a different vision of how to run the club, and that's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. Ancelotti was interviewed by Il Giornale and was asked for his thoughts with his former teammate and player has been sacked from his role, with his comments relayed by SempreMilan.it, the Italian version of Sempre Milan. I learned in Madrid that the history of a club must always be respected. Here, Di Stefano, Amancio, Gento, Puskas are still exclusive values towards which we have reference, he said. To preserve history at the highest levels, the memory of the past must be protected. What happened with Maldini demonstrates a lack of historical culture, of respect for the Milan tradition. While it is true that history does not make you win, it is also true that history teaches you how to win. Football clubs who primarily think of doing business ahead of sporting achievements and spirit are destined to fail. 100%. I know this. If Ancelotti says this too, that confirms my beliefs. Thank you very much. Patronage no longer has the meaning of before, but profiteering is negative. Yeah, guys. Anybody with any sense, I think, would agree with this. Do not fall for the Maldini propaganda. Forza Carlo Ancelotti, finally someone with pedigree acknowledges the history. Hey Roy, heard yesterday that Moncada has 15 players on table with 1 to 10 million prices. Price tags. Yeah, probably they do. Yeah, it's probably players like Ali, that level, those level players. Out of those 10, maybe one is going to be good, and the other ones are probably not good enough. Okay, guys, we're going to go into the 40 minutes of the stream. So I'm going to open up the lines. We're going to do this call-in section now. And the topics today are still Maldini. What do you think of the operation? What do you think of the names? What do you think of Pioli having more power? What do you think of the names that we're being linked to, Ndika, etc., etc.? So let's open up the lines, guys. Let's do the call-ins. Today we're not going to do a 17-hour stream. That will be tomorrow. We're going to do the Milan Forum. So if you want to come and have your say, now is your time. Let me just pin that. Give me a second. All right, shut up. Let me just pin this. All right, first caller, Giovanni F. What's up, Giovanni? How you doing? Can
Nick,
you hear?
what's going on, brother?
It's going good. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. Just recently found your channel, probably when Maldini got sacked. So
Wow, perfect timing.
yeah. First off, I want to say that I think they did handle firing Maldini in a bad way,
Yes.
but I don't believe it's the end of the world, as I have faith in the management.
Okay. And tell
Now,
us why.
now the Moneyball system, I get it. People don't like to hear it, but if you see what Napoli did, they got rid of their big players. They signed these kids that were cheap. They end up winning a Scudetto the next year. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with Milan, but I do believe in the process of the young players can bring you glory. And Moncada, he's got a track history of finding these young players for cheap and producing. So I'm okay with that. As for the Thuram, I think that would be a great signing for him to come in, be under Giroud's leadership, and then eventually he can branch off on his own and maybe one day become a top striker, right?
Okay, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, hey, the floor is yours, brother. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I just well, let's have a conversation about it, right?
Yeah, well, for me, Turam is, yeah, I mean, he is basically the next in line after Giroud in the national team.
And that would make sense for him to come to Milan, play under Giroud, get that vibe off of him, and then branch off, right? We still need work on the right side. The midfield, we need at least two pieces because I like Popega and eventually Benacer's going to come back from injury, and Tonali, he's a rock, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you find another good mid, like I don't know, I was just seeing, I don't know if there's any truth behind this, but Rabiot, I think
Mm.
Rabiot would be a perfect fit in the middle while Benacer comes back and heals up. Would
No,
you agree?
Rabiot for me is a good player
Yeah.
that has demonstrated that he can perform, especially in Italy. The only thing about Rabiot that it's a little bit pointless to talk about Rabiot is because the man makes 7 point something million net,
Yeah,
not even
yeah,
not
yeah,
gross.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely a profile that will not be coming to Milan for
I
sure.
I don't see Theo Hernandez leaving Italy as long as he's married to his wife there. Like I don't see him leaving with especially with having a kid. Tomori, Tomori, if they do end up getting this defender, they hijack it from Roma. He could be on the way out, but I don't see him leaving. Like he knows the project that's going on here. Like okay, Maldini got fired. Yeah, end of the world. I get it, but life goes on. And these guys want to make an imprint on Milan as well, right? So I
Yeah,
don't think that they say, "Oh, Maldini's gone, we're gone. That's it, no more." Like that doesn't happen, especially when you're getting your 3 million to 5 million a year. That doesn't happen. Yeah, there's a trust factor that got sort of broken. I get it, but I don't see anybody just say picking up and leaving.
well, it's I think there's other factors that come into play. For example, who was the person that endorsed Tomori the most? It was
Oh,
Maldini,
Maldini, yeah,
of
of
course.
course.
So now, if you have people that are running the club that don't have that same relationship, and they just see you as someone that they can make money out of, they will either push you out of the club, or or they will just tell, look, we want to sell you. There are many suitors for you in England, and Tomori has no problem going back to England. Tomori probably wants to fight for the national team. So it's you're right to say that it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world,
Hey,
absolutely.
it breaks my heart that he's gone. Believe me, if it wasn't for Maldini, I'm not a Milan fan. like I
Right,
grew
right,
up
right.
watching him, but I'm not. I'm saying like I think the Milan fans in general are just it's like an overreaction because you lost like such an important part. But it is a business on both front, and you are getting paid to play. So I don't think it's the end of the world, as in like the players are devastated. They're heartbroken, yeah, but get up and go. We're right
Yeah,
there. We're right there when it comes to okay, we our depth killed us this year because of injuries and the signings that didn't end up working out. Like that happens. That happens. But we're there. We're 3 to 4 pieces away from actually reaching that final and being in the top 2 for like the next 3 years.
yeah, no, absolutely. This is true. It is to be seen whether the spirit and whether there's leadership inside the institution that can maintain that mentality. That is to be seen. As Baresi said, now that Maldini is gone, it is up to the players to take over and do that,
Yeah.
right? It's up
Yeah.
to the players. So it is to be seen whether they're going to do that. In order for them to do that, they have to be backed and they have to be considered important. Let's see if a club can do that. In my opinion, and I'm not acting as if this is the end of the world. In my
No, no,
opinion,
I'm saying Milan fans in general from what I'm
in
seeing
my
on
opinion,
Twitter.
this club, the way it's being structured, does not have the ability to do that. I'm happy to be wrong about this.
The ability to do what?
To maintain a high level, a high class, a world class level mentality in the sporting structure of a team. Basically, the mental aspect, the psychological aspect of being a competitive team. In my opinion, with a loss of Maldini, you lose a world class at specifically that.
Now
A
let's
world class.
say Ibrahimovic comes in. What do you think? Does that reverse that mentality?
Well, as of now, I don't know. I don't know because I don't think Ibrahimovic would be a good fit for this management. This management needs yes man. This is corporate America now. It's not. It's not a sports team now. This is a corporation that has its own ways of doing things, and we just saw that you diverge just a little bit from how you do things, you get the axe. If Ibrahimovic would be a good choice, I think, because
I
he has.
think it would reverse that mentality. Like, okay, we have Ibra back. Like, he knows he's very well known in the soccer world, right? Especially
Yeah.
he's been a player manager for basically the time he's been here because he's last year he was injured. The year before he missed a couple games, but he was very crucial in that us winning the Scudetto. But last year he was pretty much a player manager.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, if they bring him back, it's definitely a good. It's a good choice. Definitely a good choice. Um, right now, Scaroni has suggested that he is taking a sabbatical, which to me that says he said no. That's
Yeah,
what it says.
but Ibra also said in his press conference that he wants to take the time and digest the retirement, right?
Right, and we have to see what Ibra actually thinks about this situation because I don't think Ibra is. Wait, is this no? This can't be real. I don't think
What's
that's
that?
real. But I don't think Ibra is took this well. I don't think Ibra took this well. I really don't.
He might have not, but I think he's got the mentality as the same, like as in like guys, okay, what's done is done. Now let's go, right? We can't just sit here and just twiddle our fingers and say, "Oh my God, Maldini left. We're done." Like, no, man, this guy didn't buy this company to run it into the ground, right? Obviously, he's going to save money where he can, especially if he wants to do the new stadium. But I don't see him giving up on this team with the core players and with Hernandez, Mignon, Leon, Tamori, right? Like Chow. These are big, like they're big pieces that you could build off. And like I said, you're 3, 4 pieces away from being that team. And I think if
Okay.
they make some good signings, this transfer window is going to be what we're dealing with. Like, okay, this guy's serious, as in like he brings signings, or yeah, they're going to play that money ball system with mediocre signings. Like, this is the summer transfer window that's really going to show you the future for the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Listen, I really appreciate you joining us. I want to go to the next caller, but listen, I really hope you're right. I appreciate that you're optimistic, and I said I'm keeping the door open for good things to come. Obviously, I'm not happy with how things were done,
Yeah.
and let's see. You're definitely welcome to join us. Every day when we do live open calls, or even when we do our open lives with debate lives.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Giovanni. Really appreciate you.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Ciao.
Bye. All right. What's up, Antonio? How you doing?
Hey, how are you, man? Just got back from a long day's work, so good.
We got Jerry Cardinale in the live chat. Um, if that's the real Jerry Cardinale, come and join us on the live and talk to us. But we got Ace on the call. What's up, Ace? How you doing, my man?
Hi, Roy. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Ace, get it off your chest. What do you want to talk about?
Well, first, I just want to thank you for giving myself and all the Milanisti out there the opportunity to voice their opinion. Like you was saying yesterday, you're the only Milan channel, well, English-speaking Milan channel that like gives callers a voice, and I really appreciate that. Um, I just want to say that I'm like really disappointed and still, coming to terms with, the way in which um, Maldini was handled over the last couple of days. Um, but I really just wanted to find out, like you were saying earlier, you understand where Pioli was coming from. But I just wanted to ask you, do you believe in Pioli?
Ooh, do I believe in Pioli? Yeah, I think Pioli. What I saw from Pioli in these years, when he was given, when he had the proper backing, and when, listen, I unfortunately I have to mention this because I do agree that Maldini's market last year wasn't great. I do, and I was one of the first people to say this on this channel during the market. But everything before that, I thought Maldini was absolutely perfect. And every time Maldini gave him a team that I thought was good enough to achieve his objectives, I thought Pioli with that team achieved all the objectives that he was given. This year, he got lucky with the Juventus. Well, lucky Juventus cheated. So he did achieve objectives this year too. Yes, I'm a fan of Pioli. I'm not Pioli out. I do have trust in Pioli, but I don't think he was the top of the pyramid. I think Maldini was top of the pyramid.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't have as much confidence in Pioli as you do. And that's just off the back of his in-game management skills. Like, I just think he is so reactive instead of proactive that it just doesn't breed confidence in me. But I understand what you're saying, and we will just have to see what happens. The only other thing that I just really want to highlight to you that maybe I would love to get your opinion on, there was recently some reports in on Twitter that went around that was saying that Milan recorded the highest growth per enterprise value across Europe. And I just find it so ironic that like these types of things are coming out right after Maldini got sacked, which just like prove like that he was on the right path. I don't know if you want to like probably share your opinion on that as well, if you saw it.
Yeah, I did see it. The branding, basically what you're talking about is that in the past 2 years, the Milan brand is the most, for the second year consecutively, is the brand that has had the most growth out of all the football brands Europe, with 33% growth. And by the way, Napoli was also up there too. I think it was the second. But yeah, it comes to show that, first of all, you cannot grow a brand so much unless you have the sporting results. So the sporting result, I think Maldini has part in it when it comes to the sporting results, but also let's not forget that the work of Gazidis and the work of other people when it comes to the branding and the marketing, etc. That does not solely go to Maldini. Maldini, his work on the field definitely helped, though. That's how I feel about that.
Nice. Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. I just want to thank you all again for giving us a voice. Like it has helped me in the coping process of dealing with this news. Like, I mean, I'm not so annoyed about the firing of Maldini. It's just like the way it was done and the fact that like there was no respect given to him. That's really what like rubs me the wrong way. But I mean, yesterday I was listening to a lot of the guys speak, David and Zion especially, and I could kind of understand where they were coming from. I just think there's a certain way you deal with royalty, and Maldini is Milan royalty. And whether or not you agree with the way he's doing things, you don't want to come across, removed from the culture that is Milan and Milanisti. So that really just bothered me a lot, and that's my little 2 cents that I wanted to vent. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Maybe I come on again tomorrow or something. But no,
Absolutely, Ace. You're more than welcome every time. Thank you for joining us and giving us, your thoughts. 100%. Everybody is welcome here. Thank you, Ace. Really appreciate you,
thank
bro.
you.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye. Antonio. Are you Jerry Cardinale in disguise, Antonio? Is this you?
No, man. But listen, it's a pretty funny guy in the chat. I'll tell you that.
Ernesto, I saw Ernesto, you were backstage. If you want to come back to do the call, you're more than welcome. We do have another call coming up soon. Let me just read this. Milan ha chiarito ai giocatori che il progetto non cambia, si vuole continuare a vincere. Milan non intende vendere ma vuole investire. Il messaggio è arrivato ai giocatori che hanno capito. Milan has clarified to the players that the project will not change. They want to continue to win. Milan has no intention of selling, but investing. The message has arrived to the players and they have understood. That's what it says. All right. Jerry Cardinale says, much of last year's transfer market failure was the result of Maldini and Massara's poor decision market. It pains me to reveal this, but the fans must know we will have a strong market this summer. Clever, very clever. Let's go to Andon. What's up, Andon? How you doing?
Yo, what's up, guys? Just working, resting a little bit. I'm seeing Floki making those fake Jerry Cardinale profiles on YouTube. That's Floki 100%.
It's Floki.
It's Floki. From bashing Americans to loving them. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, but again, there's some worrying signs happening right now, especially with Elatus renewal. He's one of our brightest prospect in the Primavera.
Okay.
He had a very, very good also under-20 World Cup. He had a very good season with Primavera, and now he rejects a new contract for 5 years. So that's a little bit worrying signs, wanting one of the best talents to leave. And this is where I have the problem with Pioli, because so far Pioli has shown nothing regarding Primavera prospects. Yeah, they may not be, for example, in the past 5 years world class, but in the last couple of years we have gotten some serious talents. And the thing is, he hasn't even integrated at least one player from the Primavera. and especially in the system that we're gonna work with lower budgets, lower spending. That is one of the essential things that you need to do as a team, as a coach. So that's another worrying sign. Another thing is, yes, of course, they're gonna call the players and tell them, "Don't worry, we're gonna invest money," stuff like that. But that should mean that they're willing to invest a large amount of money, not like 30 million and expecting to get some money from the transfers. So that's the bigger issue. And again, I don't know what to say about this. The whole strategy may work for a team like Toulouse or a mid-table team where you can make, because Jerry's point is to make money out of Milan, to make a sustainable model and to make money on top of that. None of the top European teams, none of them works on that way. Neither City makes money, neither Real makes money, neither Barcelona makes money, neither United makes money. All of the top European clubs that have been fighting for trophies in the last decade, none of them have that kind of a project, because they know in order to win, football is not business to make money. Football is for the fans. It's not for the businesses. And what they're trying to do is totally unsustainable for a top club. So, if we want to stay a mediocre club and be happy with occasional Champions League appearance, fighting for fourth place, maybe be lucky, go to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, yeah, then Redbird project is okay. But if we want to go back where we belong at top of European football and winning trophies, then this is not a sustainable project. Because, for example, now we need at least 5-6 new quality players. And yeah, there are some good options on the free market like Indica and Turama. I'm glad that they're trying to get them, but maybe they're a little bit too late. And another thing that worries me a lot, and how are the players gonna react next season to all of this, because it's gonna have effect. They won't be seeing Maldini in the stands. They will lack that motivation. They won't even have Ibra in the locker room. So those are the two very very important people that we're gonna miss from the next season. If they want to at least reduce the damage they have done, they better pursue Ibra to be some kind of part of the management, some kind of part, just to be around, to be able to speak with players. If they're able to do that, then maybe a little bit they will stabilize the situation. But if they don't manage to do that, it's not looking good at all. Plus, another thing, if they want us to have a successful season, they need to finish all the transfer before 1st of July, before the training camp starts. And that's the best way to have a proper team, to be ready from the start, and to give Pioli a chance. Although I don't like Pioli, I still think Pioli is not the right choice, but he's the coach. I cannot do nothing to change him. It's good to give the players to Pioli from the start of the training camp, to prepare them, to tell them his ideas, his thoughts, how they should play, rather than just to get the players at the end of the mercato, not giving them zero time. First of all, to adapt, to be inserted into the team, and after that, they're gonna flop. That was the biggest issue. Origi came in injured. He started training, I think maybe at the end. He didn't even play till the start of the season. CDK as well. He came towards the last days of the mercato. He didn't even have the proper time to adapt to the team.
Yeah. Let me ask you one question here, and then I want to go to the next caller. What do you think of this idea of Pioli having more power in the market? Because you are someone that has been against Pioli and you don't like his way of operating. How do you feel that they are going to give Pioli more power?
I mean, even if they gave them that power, Pioli, from what I have seen so far, he's not that type of a person or manager, or what to say. Pioli is the quiet type, works quietly, and if you give him player, it's okay. If you don't give him, he doesn't say a word. So that's the biggest issue. Even if you got him that power in deciding, for example, let's say Pioli says, I want Sergey for the midfield. And management tells him, no, we don't have enough money. Pioli is going to say, okay. And he's going to get like the second or the third option. He won't say his concerns, for example, to tell them, no, but I want Sergey, make it happen. I want him into the team.
So you're pretty much saying that eventually it's going to lead up to the same thing that happened with Maldini. There's going to be a clash of ideas, and then
No, I'm saying that won't happen. It won't happen, but the result, because that won't happen, there's no point in giving Pioli more power. Because what he's gonna do with that power if he cannot get the players he wants? He's gonna play with what he's given, and he's gonna be okay with that because Pioli is a yes man. That's why he stayed. That's why Redbird like him, because he's not a guy. He's not a guy to be getting into clashes with the management, asking players. If you give him the players to play, he's gonna play. But if you don't give them, he's not gonna complain. When have you seen him complain? He never complained once. Yeah, at the end of the season, he said, if we want to compete at more competition, we need stronger players. But if he doesn't get them, do you think he's gonna revolt? No, he's gonna work with what he has, and that's not the type of a manager that can have that kind of a power. I understand maybe it's time in Italian football to have those type of coaches like they have in the EPL with more power, but I still don't think that Pioli is the right man to do that. So that's why we desperately need Ibra and his coaching staff to help him.
all right.
Hey, and thanks
Yeah.
for reminding me about the U20 World Cup, which is Italy's playing today, so that's gonna be a fun game.
Yeah, and I hope the rumors for Balazzini are true that we're trying to get him. If we can get him, that would be very, very awesome addition to the team.
All right, and man, thank you so much, bro, for joining us. Hopefully, you're going to join us tomorrow for the forum. Appreciate your call. Appreciate your thoughts on this. Thank you, bro. All right, U20 World Cup is coming up in a few hours. Actually, they're playing right now, isn't Uruguay?
It's 0-0. Uruguay versus Israel.
0-0.
Actually, I'm gonna put it on right now.
34 minutes in. So yeah, I bet Italy's playing later. All right, let's go to the next caller. We have David. David is the next caller. What's up, David? Go ahead. Get it off your chest.
Good to see you guys again. Thank you for adding me.
No problem.
First thing I just wanted to ask, because not much has changed in terms of news, and everything that really needed to be said was said yesterday. So the
Yeah.
one thing that I don't think was addressed was what would be a respectful way if you were in Cardinale's shoes and you already decided that you're going to fire Maldini. What would be a respectful way to fire him?
With a press conference, with an homage to his work,
But why is that?
and
Why is the
and
lack of that
a
disrespectful?
dignified way to do it, to respect the values of this club, to respect a man that contributed to 80% or 70% of those trophies in that museum room, to a man that gave his life and soul to this shirt for all of his career. At least do it in a dignified way. Yes, David, he's still going to get criticized. He's still going to people are still going to be angry at him, but at least do it with class. Like doing it like this just makes everything a million times worse.
But I don't understand where the disrespect comes from. Like, just because you want to keep it on the low for like PR
David,
purposes.
if you don't
Why
understand
is
how
that
disrespectful this is, I'm not going to convince you, my man.
Well, if you can't explain it, then there was no
I
point to
did it.
asking
I
the
did
question.
just explain it,
No,
David.
I asked you why. You just said what it is. I said why.
Why it's because I told you, because Maldini is not just any guy, any random guy off of the street. It's someone that, first of all, as a DS, he won you a Scudetto first
I'm
time.
not
First
denying
time.
that. Of course, he
Yeah,
did
I
great
know.
things.
I know you know all of this stuff. I know you know all of the accolades Maldini has acquired. But you need to, if you're going to fire him, first of all, the way you fired him makes me understand that this management does not understand the relationship between the fans and the certain people that have made this fans of this club, like Maldini. So that there's a disconnect there. That's the first thing. I'm just saying, a person like Maldini, you fire him with dignity. You respect the culture of the club. You respect the history of the club. If you don't like Maldini and things didn't work out with him, don't just give me two sentences. Show me, create a video, a homage. Show me get a press conference. Show me your face. Talk to me. Tell me why you thought you were going to do it. Do it with class. Do it with dignity. That's it.
All right, so that was the first thing, and then the other stuff. Let's see. So the first thing was okay. So when we were like very close to like not getting top four. So I remember specifically after the Spezia game, we
Yeah.
lost 2-0. Um, and we people were saying, I remember the live right after, some people, I don't remember exactly who, but some people were saying that Pioli is to blame for the lack of integration. And then Lair and yourself and other people in the chat, for example, they said, nope, it's not Pioli's fault. So do you still believe that it's not Pioli's fault for the lack of integration of certain players?
No, I disagree with that notion because I think that when it comes, especially to young players, most young players need time for integration. Also, because I've experienced this
Yeah,
firsthand.
so you agree that it's not Pioli's fault?
No, no, I never said it was Pioli's fault. I think
No, I'm
you
not
know,
saying that. I'm just saying that you're maintaining that position.
yeah. That's a
Okay.
position that I've always maintained. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So the other thing is, so here's the thing that I think is the main difference. Like, I think this is not like maybe I wasn't clear enough, but I don't think we're properly understanding that comparisons to like clubs like City and Real Madrid and the wording that they would use. So, for example, if an Arab owner took over and they were like, oh, "We're going to win and everything, and we're going to go to the top," they're not going to use words like sustainable because they don't have those financial constraints. But the reality is, we can't really go back in the past. Cardinale, the way he financed it, gives us financial constraints, and for those reasons, we have to live under that. So, given that's the case, I don't. Again, I'm going to make this clear. Maldini did a good job, but we're saying, and the people that criticize him are saying, regardless of what he did, we put that to the side because we already agree he did a good job. But given our current, given right now what's happening and what will happen in the future, what is better? So do you understand that point that like like for example when you say like propaganda like that indicates that I'm purposefully lying when all I'm saying is that I think that he made some mistakes and I think that there's a better option. Do you
No,
get that?
no, no. Listen to me. As I said in the beginning of the stream, we all know, like people hear that when I say propaganda, the propaganda is basically this Maldini slander in order to convince the populace why he should have been fired. Right?
But
He
slander,
did
the
that.
definition of
No,
slander is that
no, no.
something's
But
false.
listen, I'm going to meet your point. Trust me. We're going to eventually meet at the same point. Trust me. So all this slander of towards Maldini is just to lubricate the situation. Let's put it that way. Let's use that word. As I said, any intelligent person knew know that is very close and follows the situation very closely knows that from day one this marriage could have never happened. Jerry Cardinale and Maldini from day one should have never been working together. They both have different visions. They both have different
Hey
strategies.
Roy, little piece of news. Milan made it clear to the players that the project has not changed and they want to keep winning. This is from Fabrizio Romano. Milan does not intend to sell but wants to invest. The message reached the players and was understood, including those closest to Maldini, such as Leao, Tonali, Magnan, and Teo Hernandez. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. No, no. Yeah, we read that earlier. So
Oh, okay.
going back to you, David. Um, the Maldini and Jerry should have never worked together. The truth is that if even last year we would have finished 1 point behind Inter, Maldini would have been fired right away. So this is why I don't like this anti-meat Maldini. I call it propaganda. Maldini did this wrong. Maldini that. Maldini is not good. Maldini did all these mistakes. No, he would have been fired anyway, because Maldini thinks that Milan should be run in a certain way, and that way does not coincide with what Jerry wants to do.
Yeah, but how does that refute my point? That I agree with you. He would have been fired anyway because they have different visions. But that's the fact. That the fact is that reality is we have a financial constraint. We have like a high interest loan we have to pay off. The way that it's financed makes it so that we have to work within these parameters. And there are certain personnel like Moncada and Fulani who are just better at working in those parameters. I just don't think I don't think it's
Well, how do you
propaganda
know
because
how do you
propaganda.
know they're better at working under those parameters?
Well, I gave you the reasons, and if you want me to go into them again, I'll summarize it. One, that he has a proven track record of identifying talent. Like right now, the players in the
What
league.
about but you don't know all the talent that he has identified that hasn't
Okay,
worked out.
okay. Listen. You also don't know
That
the
that
entire
is
argument.
propaganda
So
right there.
appealing to ignorance is not an argument. Now let me just finish
But
because
you are
all I'm saying,
appealing to cherry picking narrative and
I'm not
arguments.
cherry picking because I acknowledge that there are things that Maldini can do right, and I've said that before. There's also things that Moncada can do wrong, of course. But the fact is that given his track record, Moncada has a better track record. And from the links that we're having right now, the two names that came up, Turam and Dika, they're already better than
Wait, I have a
Rodriguez
question. So
and
is David
Fernandez.
like a Jerry Stan? Is he
No, like let me
like
make this clear
what is
because
the
the
Cherry
reason why they
Stan.
call me this is because I'm like defending the Moncada, Forlani, Pioli, Billy Bean, Cardinale like personnel because I think it's better than
Don't do
Maldini's
that.
under these financial constraints. Now let me just finish my point because the last thing I want to say was when it comes to the financial side of things, you have to acknowledge this reality. You
But
can't
we
keep
already
saying
know this,
no, you don't.
David.
The reason why I keep saying because the chat keeps saying, oh, like we should. They keep comparing us to, and they keep comparing Cardinale to owners of like City and Real Madrid who wouldn't use terms like sustainable or whatever. Obviously, they wouldn't. But the fact is that we are in that situation. So using those comparisons are just bad. They're not fair comparisons.
David, one of the reasons many people are disgruntled is because they're aware of this. They're aware that the investments are going to be limited, and we are all aware that this whole Moneyball scheme is is something that is very risky, and there's no evidence whatsoever that it can bring you to become a top
That's not
top
true. We
level
gave
club.
examples when you guys asked us
Toulouse is
about.
not an example, and
No, no,
Liverpool
it's
is
not
not
just
an
Toulouse.
example.
It's Toulouse is one.
Liverpool
Wait,
makes
wait, listen.
double the revenue just off of TV
Yeah, but they
rights.
didn't get double the revenue in one season. It took them at least 7, 8 years to get to that point. And in addition to that, you're missing examples like Napoli and Toulouse. Like even though Toulouse is not a one for one comparison, they were in League Two and then they won the League Cup and got mid-table the next season in the first league. So that's a big jump.
Yeah,
Now,
and that
obviously,
is
the
that
jump.
is that is not what Milan is looking to do. Milan is not looking to
I
go
know
from
it's not the same thing, but the fact
Serie B
is
to
that
Serie
the
A.
growth, the rate of growth is similar, and I don't think it's fair okay. The only thing I'm trying to say, I don't think it's fair to classify us as propagandists or slanderers when
Yes,
all I'm saying
I
is
think
true.
you are. I think
Everything
you
I've
are.
said is
I
true. It's just
think
that you don't like it.
you can say all of what you're saying without the Maldini slander.
How is it slander? Do you know the definition of slander? Slander
I
means
do know
something is
what the
false.
definition of slander. It
Slander
is.
in
This is
legal
political
terms.
propaganda. This is 100%
Okay,
political
explain what I
propaganda.
said about Maldini that was false. That's factually false? What did I say?
The fact that you're cherry picking Maldini's mistakes
How cherry picking isn't false.
in
Cherry picking means that you're
order.
picking
No,
out
no, no.
two things.
Cherry picking is just looking at certain aspects of one man's job
So
in order to
what did I cherry pick?
the firing of him.
What did I
Listen,
cherry pick?
listen. All I'm asking of all of you guys that are okay with what happened, just acknowledge that the only reason why Maldini was fired is simply because Maldini was rowing in one direction, and Jerry
Yes,
Cardinale,
we
when he
agree
bought
with
the
that.
club. So
Yeah,
so
we
why
agree.
so why do we need to talk about Origi and CDK and all of this?
Because those
No,
are
what we
part
should
of
be talking
Maldini's
about,
tenure.
David. And then sorry, I mean I want you to speak because it is your time. What we should be talking about is that Maldini is the first DS to bring us a Scudetto in 11 years. He's the
That's the
first
past.
DS to
We
bring us to a
agree that's good,
semifinal.
but we're looking at right now. No one is slandering Maldini. We appreciate everything he did, but you can't always live in the past. We're looking at right
And
now.
I'm
What is the
telling
best
you
option?
another thing, David, and you're obviously young. I can tell from your voice. One thing that you will learn as time goes by is that not every season is going to be perfect. Not every
Of
season you're going to
course,
win the Scudetto. Not every
of course.
season is going to be how you want it to be. So if you want to change and dismantle continuity because of that, then you're going to end up regretting it.
But
You
there
will
was no
find.
continuity to begin
Roy?
with.
Let him
They
talk.
had a clash in visions from the very beginning. I let you talk. Like, look,
Wait,
what
first
my
of all,
point is.
you don't let me talk. If I want to talk, I talk.
Yeah,
Period.
but you said right before you just said you're gonna let me talk. So like, what are you saying? You just
I'm
said that.
answering your questions, bro.
Yeah, but right before you said something, you said I'm gonna let you talk right after. So I wasn't interrupting you. I was literally repeating what I said
Dang.
to you.
What? What
You
happened?
said You said
Bruh. If you want to talk about football, and keep the conversation going, dude. Come on.
What do you mean?
Don't I don't want to
following
hear
your
I said
direction.
you said. Listen, if you I don't give a fuck about these teenage If you want to talk about football, talk about football.
Well,
Go
you're
ahead.
obviously flustered because you don't even remember what you just said like 5 seconds ago. Like, how can you put the
Bruh,
blame on
you
me?
have 10 seconds to get back on track. Otherwise, you're out.
Okay, I don't care about that argument. It's just my point is simply this: that it's not slander to point out the things that he did wrong. Okay, he did great things. We're appreciative
It
of.
is slander.
How
Okay,
is
go
it?
ahead.
Do you
Go
know
ahead.
the
Go ahead.
definition of slander? Slander means something is false, not just that it's cherry picking. Slander
It
means
is
that you're
it is
making
it
lies
is
about people.
basically defamation, essentially. It's a soft
It's
way of
you do
defamation.
not understand legal terms. You're throwing out terms that just don't apply here. Slander, defamation, libel. These
It
these
is
things are
it is
factually false.
propaganda engineered
Okay,
for the
okay. Here's your
populace
time,
to
Royce. Then.
turn
Here's your
against
time, Royce.
Maldini.
It's fine. I mean, we'll agree to disagree. That's fine.
Well, Roy, listen.
But
He
that's
is
all I have to
correct. The
say.
legal definition of slander is making false statements about someone.
Yes, and it
That's
is false to say that Maldini was a bad DS. That is absolutely a falsehood. He was a great DS actually, because he's one of the only few DSs in Italy that has actually won a Scudetto in less than 3 years. Right now, there's literally less than a handful of DSs in Italy that have won major trophies, and he's one of them. So it is
Well,
false.
from a legal perspective, you can't something that isn't objective and based in fact cannot be considered like slander. But anyways, keep going.
Whatever. It is anti-Maldini propaganda, defamation, whatever you want to call it. It is engineered to justify this classless and soulless move by the management. That's what it is. I don't give a shit about semantics right now. All right, go ahead, David.
Well, I didn't really have anything else to say. I mean, it doesn't really matter what I say. You're not gonna. We'll only have to see. Like, if things go well, then I'm right, and if things don't go well, then I'm wrong. So that's really
No,
it.
no,
We
no.
have to give you a
Listen. One thing that I am pretty much sure of is that we are going to have a decent mercato. We are going to have a decent mercato. I don't see why we wouldn't be. I mean, we are in the Champions League. I do think that the club is going to lose, as I said before. Like, Maldini is a world class individual. You have lost a world class individual to replace him with a fucking algorithm. Okay, so at the same time, I think you guys are a little bit over your head to think that we're going to become, the Milan of the glory days. But I'm not saying that we're going to. I mean, we're going to just maintain the status quo, essentially, of the current status quo of the Jerry Cardinale status quo. Anyway, David, yeah, don't take it too hard.
No,
You're
don't
always
worry. I won't take anything to heart. It's just I just kind of surprised that like me pointing out Maldini's mistakes is cherry picking, but you pointing out the possibility of Moncada's mistakes isn't cherry picking. So like, which one is it? Like, but anyway,
no, no, no,
if
no,
you're
no,
talking to
no. Okay. So let me
yeah,
address that.
I just don't see where I
Let
just
me
don't see.
address that. When you
Okay.
say Maldini made all these mistakes, and then you say, look at Moncada, he had all these things right, that is cherry picking. That is pushing a narrative, pushing
No,
an
but you're the
agenda.
one saying that Moncada made those mistakes. I'm not saying that he did or
I'm
didn't.
sure Moncada's made many mistakes, but I don't care about his mistakes. I
Yeah,
don't care
because
about
he
I
had the
don't care
God of
about
the champion
Maldini's
sporting
mistakes.
director.
I
Yeah,
care about the things that Maldini got right.
yeah, but there's also things
You
he
are
got wrong. You
using
can't ignore
Maldini's
that.
mistakes to justify this move.
Yeah, because of course, from my perspective, I think it's better. So if I think it's better, then I'm gonna support that. You think Maldini is better? That's fine. I just don't think it is. Like I think
I,
that the
I think
results
I
will speak
think
for themselves.
Maldini's better than what? Sorry.
Maldini, you think Maldini is better than this current management of sporting director? So
Oh,
for Lani,
absolutely. I mean, that's a
yeah,
no-brainer, dude.
yeah,
That's a
exactly.
no-brainer.
So it's not a surprise that you think that way. So that's what I'm saying. That we'll
Yeah,
have to wait for the
that,
results
that
to speak
that's a
for themselves.
no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
Okay, well we'll see if the results
Hey
are
guys,
better.
by the way, listen, people are getting mad at me in the chat for just defining slander. I just wanted to point that
You
out.
see, you can't
I'm
even
not on
you can't even
anyone's
say
side.
basic
I'm
facts
not on
to the
anyone's
chat. You
side
can't
here,
even say
guys.
basic facts to the chat because they think then they're gonna call you like, oh, you're standing, oh, like you're this propagandist. Like they can't even stick to basic facts.
I
Like
haven't
this
even
is
given
why
my opinion yet
I
on the
know, I
stream,
know. I'm
so
just like it's kind of surprising that you can't even
I am
give the
listen,
definition of a word.
The whole Maldini, Origi, CDK thing is all propaganda. That's all it is. It's all it is. And let me tell you this, David. Let me tell you this. If Maldini would have finished 1 point behind Inter, and Jerry would have fired him back then, you would be saying that Tonali was a mistake, Theo Hernandez was letting go of Donnarumma for Mike Magnan was a mistake because that would have been the propaganda. Anyway, David, listen, no, nothing, nothing personal, guys. You are more than welcome to join us anytime you want. We really appreciate you.
Hey, Roy, Dave, yeah, David left, and also, I want to say this. Hey, is Rock talking to me? Why is Rock all pissed off? Like, I listen. I just pointed out the definition. There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Listen, guys,
And by the way,
I like David. I like him. I like people that stick to their guns and they come and fight. I'm a fighter. I love fighters. David, there's no bad blood here between me and David. David is welcome to come here and give us ideas anytime he wants.
Roy, listen. You never asked me my opinion.
We're it's the callers time. We'll
Okay, okay.
we'll go to your opinion next. What's up, Safe? How you doing, my man?
Right, my man. What's up, Antonio? Antonio can give his opinion if he wants before
No,
me.
no, I'll listen to you first, Saif, because
Yeah,
you're
no.
you're. I like
Yeah,
Saif.
yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to start with this. Fuck the Curva Sud. I don't care if they go to every game and they be like, oh, they sing and they try to act. They're obviously paid by the club. It's obviously propaganda. What a weak bullshit statement made by them. But I'm not surprised. They're the same ones that booed Maldini in his last game, so they're classless. I used to believe that they represent every AC Milan fan. They certainly do not represent me anymore, and I generally now believe every Milan fan should represent himself. To be honest, that's my whole point. Second of all, I think the club is doing. What's happening right now when Maldini leaves. Oh, it's gonna be a great summer. You know how Forlani comes out with statements like, "Oh, he basically took like shots at Maldini." If you guys really read between the lines, he took shots at Maldini while also trying to act respectful and stuff. That's number two. And it's just propaganda and no disrespect personally to anyone here. David, like I don't know people personally, so I'm not gonna have hate for them. But it's just naive falling for this type of propaganda. Imagine we're the only fans that have a guy like Maldini who actually won us a Scudetto and 3 years on the bounce in the Champions League, still finding ways to slander him. Where before these 3 years, if we would have told them that Maldini would get us three um, Champions League qualifications, one Serie A and one Champions League semi-final, they would have they wouldn't even have thought about it. You know what I mean? So it just sucks.
Okay. Yeah. Um, you're the first person that mentioned the curva. Nobody else has really spoken about the curva safe. Do you want to give us a little bit more about that?
Because I really think they're the only fans in this like in the AC Milan atmosphere that can make a difference, that voices can be heard when they actually go in huge numbers and protest at Casa Milan, or if they boycott football games, they can make a difference. Because like I said, you're not gonna tell average fans to boycott the stadium because like I said, tourists will go there and take selfies, and even if we lose 5-0, they will still go to the next game and get their hashtags Forza Milan on Instagram, and they're not gonna care about it. It's disappointing. I thought the Curva Sud were for the people, for the whole fans. But this again obviously indicates that it's they're hiding something. They're not gonna attack the club a lot because they get benefits from the club. It's the
Yeah,
only explanation.
I
It's the
think
only
so too.
explanation.
I think so too. I think they get financial benefits, tickets, and they want to keep a certain relationship with the club in order to keep those benefits and advantages that they have. Yeah, I agree with that,
They
and
just
that's
do they just do whatever they want. They don't listen to anyone. They're so cocky. When Donnarumma comes to Milan, they abuse him. And I know I've changed my opinion on this. You know how back then we did the stream of them abusing Donnarumma and telling him you're not welcome in Milano and stuff. Obviously, I don't like Donnarumma, and I hope he fails. In I'm not gonna say in his whole life, just in a sporting sense for what he did to us. But they just They want to do whatever they want. They want to boo Maldini. When things like this happen, they don't want to come out and defend Maldini. And they know deep within their hearts that the club is going to a shit direction. If not shit, then in a worse direction than the one Maldini was taking us to. And they chose to remain silent. And like I said, they they proved that they're bitch made, to be honest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, listen, I kind of see a lot of things very similar to you right now. Yeah, so I don't really have any arguments. I don't really have anything to debate you with. I have a lot of agreements. I kind of have a similar sentiment to yours.
I think I think the general AC Milan fan, apart from a few cases, would accept what gonna go out and say Moncada out and abuse him, but we're gonna also be realistic, you know? We're gonna be realistic and we're not gonna be deluded on the situation. That's about it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, listen, the only thing I just just to be I'll be a little bit repetitive here. I just don't appreciate the whole Maldini. I'll call it slander. If I choose to call it slander, I fucking call it slander. I don't give a fuck what these Zoomers want to say. But this Maldini anti-Milan propaganda bullshit, just call it for what it is. Like we are adults here. We're not stupid. Yeah, Jerry had his visions. Maldini had different visions. They could not coexist together, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. We don't need to besmirch the name of Maldini. All right, say thank you for joining. If there's anything else you want to say?
No, man, that's about it. Forza Milan and looking forward to 16 and 18-year-olds joining the team this summer.
All right, my man. All right, thank you, Safe.
You're welcome, man. Goodbye.
Peace. Talk to you soon, brother.
Bye.
All right, Antonio. Yeah, so you wanted to give your opinion on the matter. Go ahead. And guys, the lines are still open. So if you want to come in for a call, the link is pinned on top of the chat. So the lines are currently still open if you want to come in for a call. And thank you, Nathan, for the 199. He says, yes, bitch made for sure. Go ahead, Antonio.
Nathan paid $2 to say that. Listen, a few things. First of all, I just want an update on the U20 World Cup. I think Uruguay scored, and now they're up 1-0 against Israel. So looks like the game's in the 72nd minute. So we'll see what happens in that one, and hopefully Italy takes it home later. Okay, so just generally speaking on the matter. Now, I was the first one to be extremely depressed. I was there with you guys when we all heard the reaction when it first happened. I've been busy the past few days, and I've been thinking a little bit about it. I've also been seeing the news about different players we're linked with, and the news today about the message to the team, things like that. Listen, I want to preface this by saying that I'm a Milan fan, and because I'm never going to change who I support and my connection to the club, there's a part of me that's always going to find optimism and a reason to keep watching the team. So I can't there's no way I'm just going to stop watching and stop following it and lose my faith. So because of that, I still have faith. The other thing I wanted to touch on now in terms of looking forward is what I think about Moncada and the sort of the new managerial team that we have. I'm looking at the names like Thuram and Dika and Okafor and some other players, and they do make me a little optimistic that at least if we're not going to go and spend the money on Milinkovic Savic, we are getting players who are young but are also considered to be top young players. Like they are some of the most interesting names out there. And Dika, yes, they're both on a free, but they're both solid players. I don't love Marcus Thuram for a few reasons, but I think he's a decent player who will at least contribute something to the attack. And I can't just stop supporting the club. So I know that I'm still mad about what happened to Maldini, but I'm still going to keep watching, and I'm going to still get excited over signings and players. Last year I was the first one to say that Ndika was one of my favorite defenders for many reasons. So if we get him, I'm going to be really excited. I'm going to be happy that we're getting him. I think that if Pioli has more of a say, there's potential to make a team that's a bit more effective, maybe has a deeper squad if Pioli gets players that he likes. There's no point in buying players he doesn't like. So I'm not so I still have a few things that I'm a little bit optimistic for. And my biggest concern, of course, is selling Magnan, Leao, or Tonali, but probably Leao and Magnan especially for me. Like if the management's words are true, then you know it's it's good news today. How much of that is true, no one knows. I hope that we really keep the same trajectory in the sense of keeping our best players. We have them all on good contracts now. So that for me is the biggest concern that I have, because in terms of players coming in, I don't think we need like superstars to like compete in the Serie A. We just need to increase our depth and get some of these young players that have really good potential, and I think we'll still be a solid team. But if we lose our best players, that's where my concern is.
Well,
That's kind of my opinion.
listen. I think this comment here says, Antonio, the names that are being linked are the same names that were being linked when Maldini was there. So I don't think there's much difference. Actually, I think the quality has gone down from what I'm seeing, from SMS even to Berardi to Zaniolo to now what we're seeing to Ram, Pulisic. Indica, yeah, I do agree, is a good signing. Even Okafor. I think right now what I'm seeing is a dip of quality. But anyway, no, I totally, and I totally agree. Like, there's, of course, we're going to keep on watching Milan. We're going to follow Milan, and that's never going to stop.
Well, Roy, just to respond to that, yes, the names or we've heard these names before, but we haven't acted on these names before, and it looks like we've completely shifted our focus from other players, even Kamada on hold, to now trying to hijack Ndika's deal with Roma. That means that we really, really are pursuing Ndika, and previously the management did not pursue him as much. And at least that's what we know. And we didn't hear any Ndika links up until this, like a few days ago, up until after the sacking happened. So for me, that means that Moncada really likes this guy, and the management likes him. He's young, for whatever reason, they like him as well. So that for me means that Maldini was not someone who was interested in pursuing him. That for me, I mean, that's.
But you remember, we both reported on how Maldini had that famous video call with Ndika, right?
Are you sure that it was with Ndika? Because I kind of forget the details. But
well, I don't forget because I don't do drugs.
I don't do drugs either, but it's been like over a year, man.
Yeah, and I don't forget when we reported it. Yeah, Maldini had a video call with Ndika.
Also, what the hell, man? You're just gonna diss me like that? Like I don't do drugs, guys.
Yeah, Ndika did a video call. Maldini did a famous video call. Ndika trying to start that connection with him. Yeah, I don't doubt that the club is going to have good signings. I really don't doubt that the club is going to have good signings. It's other things that to me are telling me that the club is not as downgraded. The club is downgraded.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let's go to the next caller. And guys, the lines are still open for a few more minutes, so join us if you want and give us your 2 cents. We got Lucas on mobile. What's up, Lucas?
Yeah,
get it off your
Fortnite mobile.
Yeah, I'm good. I just want to like keep it brief with some Milan fans. Like Said is that his name? Saif. The previous guy before me. Hello.
Yeah, his name is Saif, man. Are you gonna attack him now?
Yeah. He came here. He was spitting a lot of negativity towards the Groover, the fan base, the management, and I just feel like that's BS. Cause no one here knows what is going on inside the club except from the directors, the new management. So all we can do is take them by their word, and then we can judge them and during the season and at the end of the season or at the end of the mercato. And I agree with you, Antonio. I agree that we have to be optimistic. I agree that that um I see Mokanda doing a good job with his new role. I mean, um it was reported that Mokanda gave Maldini names of players that he wanted to sign, but Maldini didn't always listen to him. So I see that being true. And now that Mokanda has the power, you know, I see us getting like the good young players around Europe. And I remember last year, Lariat talking about Mokanda wanting to be a sporting director. Roy, do you remember that?
Mm,
Yeah, because he didn't want to renew his contract in the same role. So
Yeah,
he,
oh,
like
yeah.
right,
like
right. He
like
was being linked to go back to Monaco as a sporting director. Yeah, correct.
yeah, Lariat was talking about him and Mokanda like they were friends or something. So
Um,
yeah,
yeah. Lucas, can I say one thing?
yeah.
Actually, because this is not something that you said, but just something that I've been hearing. I want to also just make this clear that people who are like doing these little comparisons and saying, okay, with Maldini we bought these players, and now Moncada likes these players, and they're mutually exclusive. It's not true because, as Lucas just said, Moncada, from what we believe to be true, we don't know exactly how it works, but from what we hear, Moncada provides a group of names, a big group of names. So I'm not going to give him all the credit saying he would have signed Enzo Fernandez for sure. He would have signed Julian Alvarez for sure. He would have signed this guy for sure. But he did like these players. So at the same time, though, it's not like Maldini signing Leao and all these players. Moncada was involved in those signings too. So he also deserves some credit for the Leao signing and other things like that. So they're not mutually exclusive from each other. I want to point that out and make that
Exactly.
clear.
It
The
was
other
a
thing,
group
yeah,
effort.
yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying that he deserves super amazing all praise and for everything. Maldini does as well, but he doesn't deserve to be like getting zero credit for what we've done so far. He deserves some credit for that as well.
Yeah.
So that's just my thing. So he does, if he's going to be effective at making the final decision, we'll see, because that's going to take some interesting things. But it looks like Pioli will also be involved, so it's going to be more complicated now.
Yeah, and we went from being linked with Arnautovic to Turam, which I feel like is an upgrade.
I
Like,
think we can
I don't
agree
think
on that.
I don't think it's an upgrade at
but
all. I don't
he's
think it's an upgrade at all.
Arnautovic is a 34-year old,
That
uh,
is the only
Roy, you
thing.
said it was the other day. You were
and
like the other day. You said,
and
"I'm
listen
happy
and
we're not linked
listen
with
and
Arnautovic
listen.
anymore."
Turam is coming for free. We have to pay like 7 million to Bologna for him for Arnautovic. Like, come on, bro. And
All right, let me
Arnautovic, like when we were linked with Arnautovic, I was like, bro, what's Maldini doing,
give you
bro?
my
Maybe that was
expert
the reason
analysis on
why.
this.
Maybe that was the reason why Cardinale sacked them, because just being linked by Arnautovic was just the biggest sin ever.
All right, let me respond to this. First of all, Arnautovic is a better player than Thuram, guys. I'm sorry to break it to you, but Arnautovic is a better player than
Oh
Thuram.
shit!
But none of these players are players that we should be excited about. Okay, if this is the standard now, Thuram and Arnautovic, both of you, these are the standards of a club with financial limitations.
Thuram is a World Cup player for France. He went to the World Cup final. He played in the World Cup final.
If Arnautovic was French, Arnautovic would be before of Thuram.
I'm sorry, he wouldn't be.
Arnautovic scored what 2 goals less than Thuram in the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga is a league that, if you're a decent striker, you should be able to score 20 goals easily. Listen, Thuram technically is very poor, guys. Very poor. Like I've looked at this player, I've analyzed him very closely because we have been linked to him many times. And I'm not here saying that we should get Arnautovic either, but don't get bamboozled now that Maldini is gone and all the players that we're being linked to are superstars. Don't fall in that trap. So I'll just leave it at that. Lucas, one thing. Can you say Moncada?
Moncanda. No, listen, bro. I have a code right now. I have a code right now, bro. Like, Like, can't you see the code? Like,
It's not
can't you hear the
Moncada.
code?
It's Moncada. No N in front of a D.
Roy, you're such a bully.
Moncada,
dude.
Moncada.
No,
Moncada.
Moncada.
Mon- Moncada.
Roy, you're such a
Moncada.
bully, dude.
Shit. I just Saif, he was talking crap about the Kuva Sud. Please don't talk crap about the Kuva Sud, bro. They were there when we were in the banter era, and like they have been supportive. Like they are one of the reasons why we're here today. And their speech on Instagram was respectful and optimistic. And Saif, I just feel like you have too much negativity around you, man. I feel like you need to touch some grass, cause like you can't just
W.
come for
Lucas.
you can't just come for your fan base like that. Like you're coming for your brothers or family members. That's crazy, bro. Like
Listen, yeah, Lucas.
like you Milan fans need to get off Maldini's meat. Like if I feel like if Maldini went to Inter or Juventus right now, you guys would become Juventus and Inter fans. That is how badly you guys are acting out for this man. It's like you guys think this man is your dad or something. Like,
No,
okay,
no, you're
yes,
wrong.
he
You're
led
wrong.
us, he led us here, he led us there, and we're grateful that he led us to this place. But bro, move on, bro. Move on from the ex-girlfriend. Jeez.
Well,
Damn.
listen, you will definitely see the difference of what it's like having someone like Maldini in the club and not having it.
And we have Jerry.
All right,
so we're good.
I want to go to the next. Lucas, anything else you want to add?
If you have any questions for me.
No. No. It's all good. Join us tomorrow in the Milan Forum if you want to go after Saif, so you guys can go after each other. But
Okay, cool.
I appreciate your time, Lucas. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us. Please join us every time we do these calls. I want to go to the next caller. Thank you, Lucas. Peace.
Thank you.
All right,
Bring
next
this
caller.
clown in. Bring this clown in. I want to see.
The next caller, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the Rock.
Hey, Rock, why are you like dissing me in the comments? But like when you come
What's
into
up,
the lives,
guys?
you're all nice. What's up
I'm
with
all
that?
I'm all what? I'm not nice to you. Why are you calling Roy out on the legal precise term that he's
Because
using
I
in a
was
casual
I was first
in
of
a
all
casual that is such like Ivy
because
League
David
behavior.
made a
And-
point. David was
And
making a
you know,
point.
you know that I went to a school just like yours, and dude, you just came off as like those elitist assholes at your school. That's how you came off.
But
to me.
listen to me.
True.
But,
That's
but
the
Rock,
energy you're giving.
if you
That's
think
the energy.
if you
That's
think
the energy you're giving, and you
they
know it.
wanted to dive.
if you think that's bad, if you think that's
It's
bad,
just such low hanging fruit. Like, why didn't you comment on the point that he was making and instead waste a whole minute on the term that he used? It's just like
right.
so elitist and just like
dude,
what the fuck.
I'm literally
It's a strategy to diverge the conversation with semantics too.
No,
And
I
I
don't
know
listen.
for a
I don't
fact-
care.
I'm
I
telling you,
wasn't
I
even
know
in
for
the
a fact-
conversation, dude.
I
I
know
was
for a
just
fact that-
listening to it.
And I know for a fact, because you and I and where we come from and the schools we go to, like I know that you get annoyed by that shit in your classes because we saw that shit. I saw that shit all the time when I was in school, and I'm sure you see it all the time. Isn't that shit annoying? So like I just don't know why you did it.
Well, listen, it's annoying, and I'm not from like a super, rich elite family like that, so I don't do
Exactly.
that often. But for me, that's not like I just pointed out what the actual thing, because David was making the point and they were arguing about it, and so I just stepped in and I said, well, technically David is correct, and that's
Yeah. It just
that's what I
didn't think-
said. That's all I said.
I didn't think it deserved that much airtime. Is all I'm saying.
Okay,
You guys
I mean,
should've
I was just trying to
stuck-
emphasize. All right, whatever.
Totally agree
Yeah.
with Rock. Totally agree.
Can
with
you
Rock.
guys hear me well? I'm in the car, by the way.
Oh no, I hear you perfectly.
I don't
Yeah.
regret anything, because for me, I was just clarifying that they were arguing about.
All
that
good, all
and I
good.
was trying to
Well,
answer it, so.
you're kind of like wasting even more airtime on the.
Yeah, I
same
know,
issue,
but
too.
I wanted to address that because
You're
talk a lot
doubling
in the
down.
comments, bro.
You're doubling down. You're
You talk-
doubling down.
I am
You're
doubling down. Yeah, I
you're
am.
doubling down. That's all good. You're wasting time though. All right, so I don't have like super prepared statements or a legal brief ready. I just wanted to quickly comment on some things. I did notice with the last few callers, like the younger the Milan fan, I think the less they understand the impact of that Maldini's made as a player and also as a DS. I don't think some of the younger fans have watched Maldini play live or anything like that. And I'm not like trying to be ageist about it or sound like a boomer because I'm still in my 20s. I'm not that old. But it's just the way that some people are completely dismissing the impact that Maldini had as a DS, not only the players that he signed, which are the pillars of the current squad, the way that he helped them develop and reach their potential 3 years or 2 years after signing them, the way that he was able to convince them to renew, also his locker room presence and like on the training pitch presence to push them through in the Champions League to get them to that Scudetto. I think people are really, really undervaluing what Maldini brings, not just in the DS role in terms of his signings, which for the most part, like 75 to 80% of his signings have all been a knock out of the park, like not even a good signing. Literally the players that won you a Scudetto and brought you to the semis of a Champions League far ahead of schedule of when you were expecting to reach those achievements and objectives. And that's a lot in large part due to Maldini. So I just feel like not enough credit is being given to him.
Yeah.
And then like I said in the other call, like I do want to begin to pivot. At the same time, I want to give the proper respect to someone who helped us win a Scudetto and was instrumental in lifting that trophy. I don't know why some people are questioning the level of dignity that we gave a legend on like a firing. It's very obvious that a 2-sentence official statement from the website is not a sufficient statement for the firing, the abrupt and unexpected firing of a club legend who brought so much in terms of sporting results as well. It was honestly, it's kind of like very robotic, inhumane to a certain degree. Like I have written better statements for interns at my company, like kids that are 20 years old. I've done montage videos, I've done long statements of everything that they contributed, that will miss them, like nice personal touches. That's what you should do as a business, especially a family-oriented historical like institution like AC Milan. And the Maldini name, it's just unfathomable to me that that was the extent of how he was, like how this all came about and how it was communicated with the fans. That goes without saying. I don't think that needs to be questioned whatsoever. And anyone that is questioning that at all, you need to seriously reassess your perspective, your understanding of the club and the Maldini name. Like if you think that was a sufficient way to fire Maldini and to announce it to the fans, you need to seriously just reflect. That's all I have to say.
I have a question.
you
Who
need
is
to reflect.
questioning it? Who's questioning this?
That was the very first question that David had on his call.
Was besides David, anyone else? Because I feel like everyone agrees that it wasn't the best
Yeah,
way to
I'm
fire someone.
I'm surprised by Floki, Paul, Hahn.
Oh
like,
yeah, but those guys are psychos.
I'm kind of shocked. Like, I can't believe how quickly that they jumped on the Gary hype train. But anyways, talking about the Gary hype train, that was the next comment I wanted to make. So a lot of us are kind of speculating at the direction of the club, obviously, because this is all opinion based and we don't know anything for certain. We're not in those boardrooms. We're not present for those conversations. The other thing is we don't know how much validity we should be lending to reports from all of these various sources. Like it's obvious that during a firing of a club legend where like the wound is still very much open for a lot of fans who felt an attachment to that player and that that name Maldini, to put out positive news, right, to kind of help people heal that wound, very common. I just don't know how much we should believe it. For example, that we're not going to sell important players. Scaroni's interview where he's like, they call me Stadioni, I wasn't shown enough respect, etc. Like, in order to fund the stadium project, pay off that 300 million with high interest loan that we need to pay off, in order to be profitable as a football club, we are going to have to make important sales. He also said we have to make important sales in order to sign players, to make important signings. So to me, that doesn't say like, hey, we're gonna get maximum value for all of our dead weight and we're gonna be able to ship all of these guys out of the club. That's really unlikely and very difficult to do. It's more likely that we're gonna sell one of our starters for maximum value. And then even then, I don't fully believe that we're gonna invest all of those funds back into the market. So I just feel like there's a lot of speculation. It's hard to know exactly how much we should be believing in every single report. At the end of the day, and I'll repeat this because I said it in the chat yesterday because I didn't have a chance to call in, but we all want this to work out. Like all of us want Milan to succeed. We want this new model to work and for it to lead to great sporting results and trophies. I think every Milan fan wants that. But at the same time, you have to allow people to express their honest opinions about what their expectations are for the future with this new model. Sustainability basically means limiting your outgoing costs, lowering your payroll, lowering all of your expenses, and in the meantime, I guess trying to incrementally increase revenues through sporting results. But are you going to get better sporting results if you're making a lot of really young signings that need time to develop? Are you going to lift trophies? When you lift trophies, that's the maximum amount of money that you're making from sporting results is when you win the competition, right? So I don't know if it's going to pan out, guys. I'm going to be completely honest. I've been looking at Moneyball. Roy, you saw all of the gifs that I watched the movie. Like I'm trying to study this Billy Boner character. It worked for the Oakland Athletics over 20 years ago. But
They didn't win anything, by the way.
They didn't win anything. Yeah, they didn't win anything.
I also saw the movie.
They did better than expected, and then the Boston Red Sox did it, and they won a World Series years later. But since those two things, like it's not really. I mean, the Yankees still go and sign the best players and pay Aaron Judge $40 million a year to play for the Yankees. So at the end of the day, you don't hear teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and all these teams saying, hey, like we want to be sustainable with our spending so that we can remain competitive. Like the use of the term like sustainability, remain competitive, like these are buzzwords in the business world that aren't typically associated with like winning, like being number one. Like you will never hear those teams using those terms. They say, we're going to do what we can in the market to win next season. We want to win La Liga and we want to win Champions League next season. You don't hear them saying we need to be sustainable. We need to like remain competitive. You don't hear top clubs using terms like that. These are the terms that mid-table teams use or teams that are just trying to qualify for European competition. Those are the terms that those teams use. So, I mean, if you're happy with being a team like that, as a Milan supporter, again, like speculation, we don't know if that's going for a fact going to happen, but there's a chance that it may. And I'm just preparing myself mentally for that. Like, I'm not going to go into next season with the expectations that this ownership wants to win their 8th Champions League. Like, I'm going there into next season with the mindset that this ownership wants to try getting a stadium project off the ground, paying off their 300 in high interest loan debt that they still have in the next 4 to 5 years, slowly invest in the team with small markets and young players, selling off a big player every market here and there, maybe 2, and maybe winning an 8th Champions League before they sell the club to someone else. Like that's what this is reading to me.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, though. As always, I hope I'm wrong and that they have the ambition to go win an 8th Champions League. I think the other thing is like player negotiations. I know we keep saying that, hey, Milan is in a better position now. Like we're a much more attractive destination for some of the world's top talents. We won Scudetto, we went to semis, all this stuff. But the ambitions of a club and your earning potential are huge factors for young, talented players who have been presented with multiple projects from top clubs. Like they're going to consider the fact that, hey, if I go and take a 5-year contract with Milan, this is probably the cap and the most that they're going to be able to pay me. So this is a stepping stone club. This isn't a club that's going to go challenge for an 8th Champions League anytime soon. I'm going there to develop and then make the leap to another club whose ambitions are to lift trophies. That's the kind of club. That's the kind of mindset these young players are going to have when they're negotiating with Milan. So
yeah, that's what it feels like. Yeah, it feels like this is going to turn into a stepping stone club. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. Do you guys have questions?
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, you said pretty much everything that I feel. Also, yeah. No, there's nothing there, man. I appreciate you coming on, Rock. Join
Yeah,
us tomorrow.
guys.
Are you going to be? Hopefully, you're going to be with us tomorrow for the forum. It's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. And hey, guys, I really like this model of calls. I think it's a really great model to hear multiple voices, new voices, varying opinions. I think it's important for debate. And
Yeah.
no, it's good. So keep going. You guys are doing great.
Absolutely. And guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to Rock's channel, Milan Channel TV. Rock, I think you're going to be taking care of the watch alongs. Huh? You like the watch alongs?
I do like the watch alongs, man. They're fun.
But also,
Yeah,
you
watch-alongs are fun.
do lives other times as well. So whenever you do a
Anytime
live,
anytime you guys can join and there's a need for content, people need to get their voices heard. I'll go live.
absolutely. All right, thank
And
you,
then
brother.
thanks for always advocating for my channel as well. And I appreciate the support, man. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Rock.
All right, ciao, guys.
See you later, bro. All right, Marv, your connection seems to not be working, so I'm going to go to the next caller. We got Clint. What's up, Clint?
Oh, am I in now? Roy, what's up, bro?
How you doing?
Man, I'm hanging in there, brother. I just ate. I'm full. Fucking, I'm reading the reports, The more I think about this, like I said, like I'm putting more of my American hat on. And I need to respond to Lucas. I agreed with Rock 100% with what he just said. You have to. I think what this newer generation is forgetting, right? What I mean by newer generation, meaning people didn't have a chance to see Maldini play and see Maldini lift for trophies. They don't understand what the significance is, right? And I think it's all of that tied into the role he took. It's just, we're not just focusing on Maldini for the sake of his 3-year directorial, stuff. It's just the overall of everything mixed in together, right? That's what hurts the most when you see how everything plays out, right? And who he means to us. And like I said, I told you guys yesterday, for me, he's my idol, right? But even I take the lenses of Maldini being my idol, how everything unravels. I don't think our feelings are far-fetched how we feel about the situation. For Ancelotti, that hasn't been part of the Milan institution for damn near 15, 16 years. Even he comes out and make those statements, meaning like we're not deluded, us feeling a certain way. You understand? So there's justification in the way we feel about this whole situation, about how he was treated, right?
Absolutely.
And so now we move forward. Okay, the data analytical, I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but we just know where it's going, right? I think some elements I didn't add yesterday that I want to add today is, first of all, it's already a red flag having people detached from the city of Milano, right? It's already a big like question mark right there already. You understand me? Because meaning you're not really connected to the city. It already tells where this is going to go, right? Because I look at, because now I'm looking at Milan now fully in a corporate lens, like straight up. The reason why I say that is the past few behaviors have gave me justification to look at it that way now. So me looking at it and as an American corporation now, I'm gonna start picking the flaws I see in American corporations and how they're fucking up their businesses, right? Some of these multinationals. I'll give you an example with the whole Disney thing, right? We all live in the state. Look what Disney does, right? Disney doesn't listen to its audience when it comes down to, let's say Marvel movies, right? Like, who's the audience of main Marvel comic books? It's usually like middle-aged males that read comic books. That's going to be your audience paying for it, not no fucking 12, 8-year-old kid. Now, these movies come out, they flop because you want to market it to the wrong person. And now you're scrapping, they fired Bob Iger. They have to bring him back. And I'm telling you, like, without realizing, Milan, it will, in the wrong case scenario, they might take down this same path because for the reasons you're trying to do it or who you're trying to market Milan to, you're not marketing Milan to the right people. I don't know if you see what I'm saying here. And when I mean not making, you're not marketing to the right people, meaning the fans. The fans is gonna keep your club afloat. Those investors and shareholders you try to please, it's so far you can go on with this. Because at the end of the day, when a club dies, look at Napoli, right? Like Light said, I agree with him, is 100%. He said usually presidents are caretakers. Jerry is just a caretaker, right? He'll leave 50 years, Milan is still going to be there, right? Napoli fans said, well, when Napoli was in Serie C, the fans were selling stuff to keep the club going. So no matter who you are, and I think he needs to understand all these fundamentals and just not get stuck in the computer, because you're just going to learn the hard way, because he's going to understand that football is not like other sports. There's a reason why it's the most popular sport in the world, right? It's not entertainment based at its soul. At its core, football is not entertainment. Especially over the years, we've seen it from how the World Cups were played, the Champions League. It's something that's cultural. People live, breathe around that. It's a lifestyle that people adopt across the world, man. It's not one country. It's not two countries. It's not an Italy thing or just a Milan thing. It's across, which they're coming in. You can already say they're moving like legit newbies, not understanding, right? The only way, like I said, their whole metrics work. The only way it's going to work is going to work with a combo of that tradition. Like I saw the report what Baresi said today. It's those two. That one aspect you focus on is not going to play out. It's just not going to play. It's going to blow up in your face in the long run, right? And at the end of the day, it just tells me I don't know, man. I don't think he's here to win trophies. I can cross that off my list.
Yeah, he definitely is not here.
I think the only reason that he's going to be in to win trophies is going to be if it's a money incentive in terms of like how it's going to bring in, extra revenue. But if the margin is really low, I don't think he's going to give a fuck. If the margin is drastically high, meaning winning the championship, you get X amount, or reaching this, you get X amount, right? That's probably what's going to motivate him. Like, yo, we need to stay within this window, within this, this window right here, this margin. But if it doesn't really interfere, so I'll give you an example. If you're looking at winning the Scudetto, for example, right, you don't really make a lot, right? You qualify for, it's no difference making the Scudetto plus, let's say, the Champions League, getting the Champions League money. He's gonna be like, okay, it's fine. You just need to get top four. The fuck am I winning the Scudetto for if I'm gonna get, I don't know, 20 mil, whatever it is? It's not that much of a difference if I can just sell a player. Right. And I feel like this is the lenses they're going to start putting, the numbers lens. Right. And I'm speaking from a corporate experience. And like I said, Rock said it's the best. When people say sustainability and all that, yeah, they're keeping wages low, man. Believe that. They're going to keep certain workers. They're going to, some people, what happened in American companies, the workers with the high wages, bro, they get rid of them first. And they keep the other ones afloat. And I feel, being these investors, and the only reason I'm saying all that, I'm not panicking or anything. I'm just speaking from experience, and based on the first signs we are seeing, it's just giving you a clear vision that that's the path we're going down. Because these guys are not sportsmen at the end. They're not passionate about the sport. They're new to it, right? If Cardinale say he grew up a Milan fan and all that, and he's mentioning that, then that little passion of him, he's going to understand. But it's not there. You just see it. So he's going to be really cutthroat. And they can say, oh, Furlani might have it, but who's Furlani? Furlani's just doing what he's told. That's the bottom line. So
yeah, no, I hear you, brother. I hear you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Clint. Hey, thank you for giving us your 2 cents.
Y'all go back to listening, man.
I agree with most of what you're saying. I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. Yeah. I hope that for the best. I think we all do.
Yeah, I mean, we're all, at the end of the day, it's still our club. It's still everything. It's just us looking at the future. I think we suffered a lot, and that's the only reason why we're a bit upset. We're not moaning. We're not being effeminate. It's just some of us been supporting Milan, for like 2 decades, 3 decades for some. Like, so it's not. We're still gonna be Milanista, right? We're not saying we're gonna go somewhere else. It's just the signs we're seeing. After a hard, we even haven't had time to enjoy post-banter era, and then this is coming to hit us. So.
It's 100% justified, the reaction.
Yep. So, all right, Roy, thank you, man, and yeah, y'all keep up the good stuff, man.
All right, brother. Hopefully, you see you tomorrow in the forum.
Yup.
Peace. All right, guys. Let's have space for two more callers. So I have one caller right now, Marv Diaz. We're gonna get him on and see what he's got to say about the situation or whatever he wants to talk about. And then let's get space for one more caller. So, guys, if you do want to get on and get it off your chest, whatever it is, come ahead and jump on. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
What's up, Marv? How you doing, brother?
Good. Just got off of work.
Okay.
All right, man. So I got a couple things.
Go ahead.
First, I'm sorry, Roy, but I agree with Antonio.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, he had to correct you on that the misuse of the word.
Whatever, semantics. I'm not going to get into it.
No, it's because, bro, look, it's because if you're arguing for something and then you state something and that's up and it's wrong and you keep using it, everyone else is going to believe it. And it's just, if you're wrong on that, it's going to make me question everything else.
Well, listen, I mean, when I use the word slander, slander is a word used to portray a negative image about someone. Now, specifically about, that person lying or whatever. I mean, it is half of what slander can be used in this because you can make an argument that it is slander. But
I understood what you meant.
The technical term of slander in the courtroom sure can be used, has to be specific, but we're not here in a courtroom. I'm talking about anti-Maldini propaganda. Some of it is slander because it is we are lying in order to justify his firing. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So another thing, what was that guy's name? David, or what was it?
David.
All right, so that, like, I like him. He's real assertive, but man, he's too sensitive, man. Like, he gets mad too quickly. Like, I understand what he's saying with his points too, but the thing with Maldini is he's done a lot more good than he has bad. But no one's saying he hasn't done bad, but it's not like anyone has 100% record on signings. Look around Madrid; they signed Hazard, 100 or 150 mil, something like that, and he flopped. Like, look at Chelsea, all their signings, they flopped. Bayern Munich, Tolisso, that record signing flopped. Like, it's every team makes mistakes, and when you compare these mistakes to every other club, CDK 35 mil. If we're all being honest, that's nothing. That's why we're all mad that we got $35 million budget, because that's nothing. Like, you're buying bench players with 35 mil.
That's a good point.
And that's the thing, man. Like, yeah, we lost 35 mil. I mean, but if they would have gave Maldini what he wanted from the beginning, he wouldn't have gone with that choice. As I'm assuming Maldini wanted at least 100 mil, which I think 100 mil for a one transfer window is good. And that's not even including the winter market. Like, even if you were spread out both of them with 50 mil on each. Last year, we didn't spend, I think the last 2-3 years, we didn't spend anything on winter market, right?
Yeah, we didn't.
So realistically, we're not really getting anything. Most teams, they're spending maybe 80 mil in the summer and maybe another 50 in the winter to make up for whatever went wrong in the summer. But we're not doing that at all. We're spending 50 mil at most a year, and we're still getting good results. That shows how good Maldini is. Like, give that 50 mil to anybody else, like Madrid or Barcelona, they're not doing anything, man. They spend 50 mil minimum on a player, and that's why they're always competing towards the top.
Yeah, I mean, last season Real Madrid spent almost 100 for Tchouaméni, who is one of the best midfielders upcoming midfielders. And now this year they spend the same, more or less the same amount for Bellingham. So every year they're investing. That's what Maldini was saying. They're investing in the next top talents.
Exactly. So, and then whenever they bring up, oh, well, we're gonna use Moneyball, blah blah blah, dude. Every single team in the world is using that scouting method to an extent. Because you don't think they randomly found Vinicius Jr. off of like YouTube videos or word of mouth. They look at the stats. They look at him. They see what he's doing. They see he's one of the highest dribblers in Europe in that league, and they're like, well, you know what, this guy is showing us more good than we're seeing good stuff in him. We're gonna take a risk and buy him, and bam, ends up being one of the best in the world. We did the same thing with Leao, who was around what 35 mil. He was also 35 mil.
No, that was less. Was about, I think it was 28.
28 mil. That's still like 30. That's still a good amount of money.
Yeah.
And we did the same thing. We took a risk. He didn't pay off in the first summer. Neither did the second. Up until the third is when he really started, producing. And whenever they bring up that thing about my CDK was a mistake, I again, to the extent he was a mistake, but who's to say he's not going to go off this year? Or what if he goes off next year? Now is Maldini still going to be held responsible for that?
Yes, you know what, Marvin? I think that it is very dangerous for this, for all these people that have used CDK as a prime example, because CDK might actually explode one day or the other, and then when he does, all of a sudden you kind of looked dumb using him an example for a mistake.
Exactly. I mean, CDK is still young. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, yeah, he's showing talent. Who knows? Maybe we put him back. Maybe we put him on the right wing. Maybe he'll do something. Yeah, he's a little slow, but maybe he can be like a tank. He can run through people. Who knows? But we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe he puts on muscle. We don't know what's going to happen yet. So I always want to give a player at least 3 years to see what he does. I understand some people, but we need to win now. Well, if we want to win now, we should spend more money then. There's no in between. Well, there is an in between. Like, I'd say for every young player you sign an older, more for sure player. And that there's a balance there somewhere.
Yeah, it's very difficult to imagine that if you're going to go just with young players, you can achieve the sporting results you want. I mean, young players definitely help. They add depth, especially if they're quality players. If you're lucky to get a 1 in a million kind of player, if you're lucky to do that, if Moncada is good or lucky enough to do that, then that can make a difference. But generally speaking, players of that profile need time to bring you to that next level.
Another thing I don't understand is why people have so much trust in Cardinali, or whatever you pronounce his name. I really don't understand. What has he done to make y'all really believe in this? They keep on bringing up this other team. What was the name of it?
Toulouse.
Toulouse. What is that, a French team?
Yeah.
So, okay, what did they exactly win?
So Toulouse was a team that was in the second division of France, and they were bought while they were in the second division in France. And Toulouse, essentially, according to Cardinale, was used as an experiment to see if his methods work. And they did work with Toulouse. So they brought Toulouse up to the first division. They finished mid-table, and I also believe they won a French Cup, like the French Cup. I think.
Okay, so they won the Mickey Mouse Cup.
They won
and the Mickey Mouse League.
In the Mickey Mouse League, yeah.
Okay, so with that information, I mean, using that information, should we also go off of what Wrexham did? That shot. I mean, they also came from a lower division. They're making their ways up. They won their league. They dominated their league, and all they did was invest money. So using that same very logic, we should just do what? Why don't we just invest money? You can get you the same results. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I could probably score a hat trick in the French league. I mean, you put me in the second division? I mean, come on, man. You're playing probably farmers. You're literally playing farmers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a great how do you call it?
Trial, like test?
Trial test, right? To
see whether to me that's
can work.
I mean,
top flight Italian football. Yeah.
I mean, is there anybody in that team that's a real big superstar that's coming up? I mean, maybe that whole team's full of youngsters that are really showing quality, but if they're all putting up minimum, like they're all putting up okay numbers, which is if we're to end up in the middle of the French league, I'm not really too impressed.
I don't think it's a great experiment to compare because, first of all, the difference is that playing at the San Siro and trying to uphold the history and the pedigree of Milan is completely different than the one in Toulouse. And I think a lot of people brought this up. The pressures are completely different. I mean, Milan, the expectations are literally the highest in the world. They're literally the fucking highest in the world.
So let's see. If we want to go, the closest thing to playing at Milan would probably be playing against PSG. How do they do against PSG?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
They probably got obliterated, I'm assuming.
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's comparable to what it's like for Milan. But listen, this is what we're going to be. We're going to be Jerry Cardinale's guinea pig. He's going to see whether or not this experiment can work. And if it does work for him, once he sells the club, he's probably going to try and do this probably in England.
Moneyball. I'm tired of hearing Moneyball, man. That's such garbage.
But I have my doubts that he's going to be able to pull this off. Now, if he does pull this off, I will I'll be happy because that means that we're all happy. But I'm still upset at how they fired Maldini. Like that is just
Oh no, no, and that's another thing that man, David was saying a lot of controversial stuff, man. So he says he doesn't understand how it was disrespectful. I was listening, and I was thinking about how could I explain this to him the most. Let's say I was thinking like, okay, let's say some guy walked up to the street and shoved you super hard. All right, instantly you're gonna be mad. You're gonna probably you're provoked. You're gonna probably want to attack the guy, right? So now imagine your father shoved you. Well, I mean that's your father. Maybe he's mad. You're not gonna push him back, and that's because you got like somewhat of respect towards him. And instantly, that's where the difference is. Maldini he isn't just an employee. He wasn't just a known face, director. He's Maldini. He's someone whose blood and sweat went into this club, and he's done so much for this team. He has universal respect from everybody. Thierry Henry, Messi. I mean, everybody. Name a legend. They respect Maldini.
Yeah.
And that's where if your club can't even understand that by disrespecting this player, if you can't even respect the most respected player in the world, how do you expect us to respect you? That you don't understand even the most simple of things, to respect Maldini.
Good point. Good point.
You there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
But yeah, dude, like I just don't understand that. Like how it's not that hard to know what respect is. Because it'd be one thing Maldini came in and did a shit job. He didn't. He did a good job.
Yeah.
I'll even acknowledge. Let's say Maldini doesn't have a good track record of signing forwards, even though he got Giroud and Ibrahimovic. Let's say he just has a bad record. He's never signed a good forward. He still signed great defenders.
But listen,
Our defense.
Sorry, Marv. And not to cut you off, but is
No,
that
you're good.
even true? Is that even true that he didn't have a good
I'm just
record to sign forward?
putting like, because you know how people are always gonna say stuff. I'm just gonna say even at worst, that's true, right? Let's say even at worst that he signed no good forwards, he still signed amazing defense, and I don't care
and
who it is. If you don't have a good solid back line, it doesn't matter how many goals you scored. You can't win the league with a bad defense. You can win the league with a good defense, and that's what we solidified. Maldini came in, he solidified the midfield, he solidified the goalkeeper, he solidified the defense. And maybe you don't even know what Maldini was thinking. Maybe this was the summer he's like, all right, this summer we're signing forwards, because he's like, in the last couple years, like I said, he got the defense ready, he got the midfield ready, and now honestly that is the best way of doing it. The forwards are the most expensive. We made the most money this year for going this far into the Champions League, and also by winning the league and qualifying for Champions League. We made enough money to where we could spend a good amount of money on forwards. Maybe 2 years ago, no. We should have we did the right thing and fixed the defense and the midfield and the goalkeeper. Arguably cheaper positions. And now that we have more money and that we're good on the midfield, we're good on the defense, we're good on the goalkeeper, it'd make the most sense to go into the forwards now. But he was fired. He wasn't even given the chance to try to get a forward. Origi, he didn't want Origi. We had to get Origi because he was free. De Kettler, okay, and he's still young forward. We'll see. But we had Diaz. Diaz was putting out great numbers. He was getting better every single year. There was literally no reason not to play Diaz this year.
I mean, listen, going back to the forward thing, Avand Maldini brought in Ibrahimovic. Okay, Ibrahimovic turned around the mentality of the team. Maldini brought in Giroud, who also is a big part of this team and has helped this team achieve what it has achieved. Especially Giroud last year, where I completely got that wrong, and I say it because it's one of the things that I've learned. It was one of my biggest lessons in analyses. when Giroud signed to Milan, I wasn't very excited about that signing. Because I thought that he'd be a player that just bring us 12 goals, 11 goals, and I wanted more. But I never would have thought of how heavy those goals would have been. And he scored against Inter, against Napoli. He scored
Oh
for
yeah,
both.
he was the clutch.
Yeah, he was Mr. Clutch. So that was Maldini, Masada, and whoever. That was a good offensive signing in the end.
Cheap signing too.
And that's the thing. It's like he doesn't have. It's not like Real Madrid. Real Madrid is like, it's easy to be the DS of Real Madrid. Real Madrid is like, I'm the DS of Real Madrid. Okay, who's the best striker in the world? Mbappe. Okay, let's go get Mbappe. Easy.
Exactly. It's I have not seen anybody perform as well as he did with our budget.
No, nobody.
And
He got an
and
award
he,
for it too. He got
yeah,
awarded.
exactly. He won an award. Like that's and then it's like they kept on bringing. Oh, what about Napoli? They signed a bunch of nobody. I mean, hey man, they not. I mean, we won the league too. I mean, what are you trying to say with that? Like they acting like we didn't win it like a year ago.
Yeah.
It's like they
Anyway.
already. Plus, Napoli has been a lot more stable than we have. They had great teams in the past. They made a lot of money off of selling Higuain, off of selling Cavani. They had
Right.
Hamsik, who was a great midfielder. They had Koulibaly. They had what was that? Manolas. I mean, they had good players, arguably better players than we have had
Yeah,
in the last
and
10
Napoli.
years.
It
So it's
took
not
him.
impressive from going to that to turning. I mean, they should have won the league way more times than we have, but
Yes.
they didn't. We did. We went and won it with Maldini
In 3 years we won it. Well,
in 3 years.
they took
Banter era,
14 years.
middle sixth place.
I think De Laurentiis took 14 years to win it. 14,
Exactly.
I think. All right,
And
Mark.
that's where I think it's. Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead. Yeah, just go ahead. What's the last thing you want to say? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was basically done, I guess. But I do have one thing. I do like the new way you're doing it individually, but I also miss like 7 people in here yelling.
Oh,
That
we're
was
doing
really
that too. We're doing
that was
that too.
entertaining.
The forum is tomorrow, so we're gonna get a mix of both.
Oh yeah,
I'm
dude.
not.
I would love to get into a chat with David.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And listen, guys, I really want the people that disagree with anybody to be involved. Don't feel like you're being isolated, or don't feel like you're not part of the family. Even the people that are completely in disagreement are part of the family, and their voice is wanted. So,
Just
yeah,
back it up. Just back it up with like real facts, and don't don't just say,
absolutely.
oh, well, don't focus on the negative. I guess it's everything has negatives, but if you're just focused on the positives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, tomorrow we are doing the forum, so we're going to have it's going to be the open version. Essentially, what I'm doing, Marv, is I'm going to do the newscast as always, but I'm going to close the newscast with calls, and then we're going to continue to do the open lives as we always do.
Hey, I also have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so there's Antonio, right? And then there's this other guy that sounds just like Antonio, but he says he works in the office or something, or he's a manager of some kind. They sound exactly the same. Like, I'm not crazy, right? There's 2 of them, right?
Are you talking about Bilal?
I don't like. Dude, they sound exactly the same. I can't even like describe him because he just sounds like Antonio. I think he even said it. Yeah, I sound like Antonio, but I'm not Antonio. I think he said he was like running a. He was in the call with David. I know that.
I must have missed that. Was this yesterday?
Oh, he was on yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It must have been when I wasn't around.
Because they were arguing about the finances. They're like, well, but he's like, with my manager, if my employee performed above average, then I'd give him a raise. And the other guy's like, no, well, if you don't, the whole thing. I guess whenever he comes back on, I'll give him a call or something.
Maybe that was Zion. Maybe that was Zion Train.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I'll see you in the group chat then.
All right, Mark. Thank you for joining us, bro. Appreciate you. Later. All right, guys. I I think that is it for today. Let me just see if there's any new reports coming out. Bada bing, bada boom. Scaroni provides update on new Milan stadium potential areas. Milan retain interest in Watford star. Who's this? Milan are still aware of Watford. Oh, Sar. Right. We've been linked to Sar before. Yep. He's still only 25 years old and has thought that he would cost just over 25 million. Interesting. All right, guys. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of news to talk about tomorrow. And there's a lot more that is going to come out today. But it is still right now in the wake of the Maldini firing. And details of Chelsea offer to Mike just came out. Roy, yeah, I'm seeing this. They're going all in for Mike Magnan. 100%. Okay, we have another caller. We're going to get, last caller of the day. Nathan is going to be our last caller of the day. Roy, would you take Ancelotti back in Milan after his contract expires with Real Madrid? Maybe. I would consider it. Yeah, for sure. He is, I think, he is definitely one of my favorite coaches. I don't know if these coaches that come back, I guess it worked for Madrid. It worked for Madrid. Sometimes it doesn't. Well, yes. So Chelsea is offering Magnan 133,000 a week, guys. Let's watch out with the Magnan situation. He is the only player that has not renewed a contract. He is one of the players that could potentially be sold in order to fund this market. Okay, let's go to the last caller of the day. Mr. Nathan, what's up, brother? Go ahead. Get it off your chest, my man.
Can you hear me? Do I sound okay?
Sound perfect.
Okay. First things first, I still can't understand the Maldini slander. It just doesn't make sense. Number two, actually, Thuram is actually not a bad player. He is when healthy an animal because of his size and his technique. But that's the whole point is when he's healthy. If he could stay healthy, he would be a very good upgrade. So that's the one thing I do have to disagree with you on.
Upgrade to Giroud.
Yes,
but in the national team, Giroud is above him.
Oh, of course, because Giroud was playing very well with Milan, and Thuram was always injured. So it wouldn't make sense to start Thuram over a striker who's in form.
Listen, for me, Thuram is an average signing, my man. Like I can't get excited over Thuram. I mean,
no. Listen, I don't. You already know. I would rather get someone like Scamacca or something like that, just because he fits more towards Pioli's style of play. I'm just saying Thuram would still be an upgrade, even if it's not the best one.
Right. I think it'd be very good for depth, and I think it'd be way better than Origi. I think Origi was just not it. He just did not fit Milan and that. But I don't know if Thuram would be able to settle in that fast. We'll have to find out if he does come. And what do you think of him getting like one of the highest salaries in the club, if that report is true? I don't know about that. That also
that would just be ridiculous because at Gladbach the only highlights that team has is always beating Bayern every year. That's like the only thing they can hold on to is the fact that for whatever reason Gladbach is always able to beat Bayern every year. Other than that, it's not. He should be on like 3 mil at best.
Let's check his SOFA score sheet. Let's see what his statistics look like for the season.
And while you're looking that up, while you're looking that up, one of the main reasons why I wanted to come on right now is because Rock and Toyo and some other people on here are having a discussion about whether Marv is me or not. And it's just funny as hell. So I wanted to get on here and mess with them.
That's hilarious. Marcus Thuram, 6.4. So he's the same height as Chow, tall. To be a tall striker,
Yeah.
good for air, good for
He's fast, strong. He has good foot skills. Like I
No,
said, like when he's
no,
when he's
listen.
in
Yeah,
when
sorry,
he's
go
in
ahead.
form, he when he's in form and consistent, he is very difficult to stop. That's my only takeaway. Like if he could come back and be healthy for like 90% of the games, you would be pleasantly surprised as to what he could offer the team.
Now I checked him, and I've been following. Look, from a technical point of view, I'm not impressed. I mean, I'm really not impressed. But I definitely see that he has the he has the ability to make himself dangerous with his qualities.
Right.
I
And
don't.
like he's not like a because I think we've been spoiled with Zlatan's technical ball ability.
Not only
When most strikers aren't even a fraction of the skill level of Zlatan. Like look at Giroud.
we've been spoiled by many great strikers.
Yeah, exactly. So we gotta lower our expectations of the current crop of strikers in the world. Like even look at the best strikers in the world right now. None of those guys can hold a candle to Zlatan's footwork, you know? So look, we have Giroud. Giroud couldn't lay a ball off to a tank even if he was 3 feet from it. So things like that we gotta put into perspective when we're looking at other strikers and if they're big, whether they can contribute in terms of bringing the rest of the team into the game.
Yeah, no, listen, I think, again, for me, this is an opportunity because he's on a free. 25 years old, so he's still not even in his prime.
Right.
He has played 30 games, started 28, 84 minutes per game, so he plays most of the games. 13 goals, 6 assists. That's very good goal contribution. For is he the main striker in the team?
When healthy, yes. And he can play like if we switch to a 4-3-3, he can also play on the flanks as well.
Yeah, I see that he also played on the left. Yeah. So the player, let me see. So they finished 10th in the league. They finished 10th in the league.
Marv, don't agree with these people, all right? Do not agree with Rock, okay? That's the last thing you want to do is give him ammunition.
About what?
Marv Diaz said, LOL, I do kind of hear how we sound similar. If we sound similar, it's because our IQ is just that much higher than the rest. So that would make sense then.
The tone of the cadence of the way you guys speak is similar, I think. Now that I hear it. Yeah, listen, again, it's not a signing that excites me that much, but it is a signing that can happen and that can bring depth to the team.
Right. Like I would prefer Scamacca.
But yeah, to be honest, even Scamacca doesn't excite me that much. I agree that Scamacca fits the system well. Fits the system well, and he would help the team play better. But it is what it is, It is what it is. Anyway, what else do you want to say, bro?
Damn, I had one other thing I wanted to say too. Well, it seems like Zaniolo's off the cards. I haven't seen anything about him, unfortunately.
Yeah, let me address this, bro. There's no players. We're not going to buy any players that play in the Serie A. any players that play in the Serie A, they're not going to be coming. That is for sure. So whether it is Italian or not Italian, they're not going to buy any players for Visalia. So any forget the notion that of an Italian core. That's never going to happen. Never. And we're not going to
Yeah,
get any players from Serie.
yeah. That's why I was. That's one of the things I was disappointed with Maldini was that he was unwilling to uh, start that Italian core process before he was let go. I felt like that with Maldini, that would have been the best opportunity to start an Italian core, just because of the pedigree and the like for like type of camaraderie for Italians. So now that he's gone, yeah, it's definitely not going to happen, and it's going to be funny because we're going to get all of these foreign players, and then half of them are not going to be part of the Champions League squad. And so people are going to be crying about it and stuff like that when they forget that there's a quota that we actually have to maintain.
Yeah. And the reason why, I know you call it an excuse, but it's a reality. Essentially, players that are bought from abroad, you get tax cuts, tax regulation cuts from them. It's called the decreto crescita. So any player that you buy in Italy, whether they're Italian or not, you don't get those tax cuts. And
Right.
this
And
club,
I understand that. I understand that. But like,
this
we're
club
already
is
about to get
not.
rid of CDK. And we didn't even spend all of the 50 mil that we had last summer. We should have just got Raspadori. Just get
Yeah,
one quality
absolutely.
player. Like if the tax or whatever it is that prominent, then get the best one possible and move on. Don't
Yeah, no,
go get all these random, you know, worthless signings that are not going to do anything in the year, which none of them did except for Chow. We could have just got Raspadori and Chow, and then we would have been perfectly fine because the others did nothing.
yeah. I mean, look at all our sign. Even last year, I think literally all of our signings were players from abroad, except for Pobega, who already belonged to us.
Right.
So CDK abroad, Origi abroad, Dest abroad. Who else did we get? Who else did we get last year?
Bronx.
Vranks abroad, Chow abroad. Like, we're not going to buy any players from Serie A because this is a club that is more interested in the balance sheets.
Right. And see, and my counter to this is why not look at like the U20s, the U18, the U19 Italy squad and get those players for our Primavera, and then once they're old enough, they can join the senior team. Like we're not even getting Italian players for the Primavera. We're still getting foreign players for the Primavera. Like this
Thing
is
is that
getting ridiculous.
you have to pay those players, even those players there that are coming from Primavera. You don't get any tax cuts from them. It's
Yeah,
the system
I
in Italy. The system in Italy is designed to ruin Italian football. First of all, and
Yeah,
Italian football
but
players.
it seems like Milan is the only one that cares about this. Napoli doesn't care. Juventus doesn't care. Inter doesn't care. Sassuolo doesn't care. None of these teams care about that. Milan is the only team that keeps bringing up this excuse. So it'd be different if all the Italians were like on the mid to lower table teams, and all of the upper teams didn't have any Italians. Then I can understand. But we're the only ones, so I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah. And I don't like it. I don't like it. And it is, what are you going to do about it? Can't do anything about it.
True. Other than that, Pioli's not going to last much longer. So
he's the next scapegoat.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, he'll be the next scapegoat. We might as well start drawing up a list of coaches.
Right.
So,
and after him, it will probably be Scaroni next. Who knows? All right, Nathan. Listen, I really appreciate you coming over, man. Anything else you want to add?
Nah. Forza Milan and cancel Rock. Hashtag cancel Rock.
All right. All right, my man. Thank you for joining us, bro. I'll see you
Yeah, man.
either tomorrow, hopefully, if you can, for visit forum. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll
I'm off
chat.
the next. I'm off the next few days, so
Oh,
I'm
okay,
definitely
perfect.
gonna be on there. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, bro. See you later, bro. Peace.
Forza Milan.
All right, guys. That is it for today. The lines are closed. No more calls for today, and that will conclude our Thursday edition of Milan News. One more time, everybody, make sure you click that like button on your way out. Subscribe, do all that good stuff. And tomorrow, it is Friday, which means it is forum time. The forum is going to be tomorrow. We're going to start it around 9 a.m. Pacific. And yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what the peeps have got to say. Debate, a lot of debate. It's going to be another debate stream. And listen, one more time, if you disagree, most of us here are not happy with the situation, and we're kind of agreeing with each other. But I want to get the people that disagree with us to come forward. Come forward. Tell us why. Give it. Fight for your stance. Fight for your stance. Even if let's say I come at you strong, don't worry. There's no disrespect. It's just the laws of the ring. Once the fight is over, it's all just nothing but respect and friendship. So I urge anybody that disagrees with anyone, with the current situation, with how we feel about the situation, to come on and give us your 2 cents and debate us. I say us because most of the people here are in agreement that what the club did was wrong. Having said that, guys, thank you very much for everything, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace out. And like always, Forza Milan and Forza, you know who? Forza Jerry Forza Paolo Maldini. Peace out.